Hello again, everyone. Back again for part 4. Part 4. We've made it like... How many hours are we into this game now? Let me just double check. 12.5 hours into the game now. And I'm loving it. It's such a good little game. I'm wondering if I can actually finish the whole game in this session now. But I don't know. Because where I left off last night, I got the impression that I was like halfway through the game. Which I'm fine with. Like if this game turns out to be like, I don't know, 20 hours plus, that's fine. That just means the game's got more to it, more content than I thought. However, I just bought a new game called Keep Driving. An indie game. The clue of the game is in the title. But it looks like a pretty good little indie game. Just like Citizen Sleeper 2. Anyway, I won't waste any more of your time. Let's continue. So, we just made it back to... I think it's Flotsam. It doesn't say here, but pretty sure we're at Flotsam, right? And I've been given a little mission to go get Femi's sister, Nia, which is what I am gonna do. Because I'm gonna get some good cryo from that. I don't have a lot of cryo, so I could do with the extra. But I guess I have four cycles before I have to head over there, so I might as well find some work, get some supplies and stuff whilst I'm here. Oh, I've got some extra skill points. I've been staying away from the push points, I think you would call it, because they don't seem worth spending the points on until maybe I've maxed out my skills. They do well in a pinch, but 2 points or 4 if I got both seems like a lot of points to be spending on something that doesn't offer enough. Whereas having high baseline skills, I think is more beneficial. So I'm gonna max out engineer. Let's take a look around. It's been a while since we've been back here. I am gonna need fuel, but I'll come... Damn, I forgot how cheap fuel is here. Or is it just me? Buy engine components. Don't I need... Yeah, I need engine components, don't I? So I can build... Yeah. So how many have we got? So I need 3. Okay. I don't suppose there's a way I can work for them? Constant, keep it sealed safe. Volunteers. Flotsam integration. Oh, it's gonna cost me quite a bit of money. Let's go for it. To increase the ship's range, the engine will need an overhaul to squeeze more power out of the turbines. That means new components. Goody gumdrops. Ah, so that has increased my fuel capacity. I was hoping it would increase my supplies capacity too. What is this? Rig supply store. Oh, this is for the creature we have on board. Okay, let's... Was that the right time to do it? Every few cycles. Okay. Let's get rid of that one stress that we have. I'll just use a good dice. Nice. Okay. I don't need a meal. So I can buy supplies here, I can do some work here. And that is about it. So I've got like 3 or 4 cycles. 3 cycles, I guess, before I need to head across. So where's best for work? I think it was this place. Old Taka. Yeah. Let's do some work then. Build up some money because we are broke. I don't suppose they have job seekers allowance in space. Nice. I'll get them to scavenge supplies if I'm going to be trying to get this creature that's on board. Sleeper, you got a moment? Eugene finds you in your berth. I have news about Aphelion. Eugene has a seriousness you rarely see etched into the hard lines of his face. You remember the ship he is talking about. The Aphelion Path. The last surviving interstellar fraction ship in the Helion system. If his stories are to be believed. I've been putting out some feelers for that little lost ship, and some things came back. He glances around, as if the information might leak to some unwanted source. I've been working with a contact of mine, a signal chaser, working out of the Hollow. He's got some promising data. He followed the trails from the hidden wreck we found, calculated the possible vectors. If this thing is still in the Helion system, it's in the shoals. He folds his arms across his broad chest, watching your reaction. Still chasing that myth? He chuckles. It's no myth, Sleeper. This is the real deal. Not that I told my contact that. The problem is, the signal chaser's gone quiet. Nothing for a few cycles now. Eugene shakes his head. Maybe he got wise to the value of what he found, but I doubt it. Maybe he just took a holiday. Eugene grins at his own joke. I reckon we pay a visit to the Hollow. Turn up my ghosted contact. See how viable the data looks. It looks good, we go out and get the ship. It doesn't, he shrugs. No harm, no foul. What about Vesna? What about her? Eugene shrugs. Maybe she's involved. I doubt it, but He holds up a finger. Could she come sniffing around after the fact? When I whiff out the... When I whiff... Or get a whiff? I think there's supposed to be a get there. When I get a whiff of that... When a whiff of the data gets out. Sorry, guys. He sighs. That's what she does. That's all I've got. Eugene winks. Keep it between us, alright? We'll let the others know when we hit the hollow. But remember what's at stake here, Sleeper. An interstellar ship. A ticket out of Helion. He pats you hard on the shoulder. It'll be worth it. With that, Eugene drifts out of the bunks, whistling. I guess we continue to just do work then. We're gonna need the money to buy the fuel. Cool beans. Do one more cycle. Can I do 4? Femi seems ready to take a crippled ship out to Cutter's End. Only you can save him from himself. My dogs want attention. What's up, puppers? We're going for a big walkies tomorrow, don't you worry. We're going for a big walkies tomorrow. You wake into dead-eyed darkness. You float there for a moment. You feel like ink in water, unfurling, dissipating into the floor that surrounds you. And out of your inky darkness, the glowing thought emerges. Substitution. The thought proposes. One entity replaces the other. The thought troubles you. Resistance, thought muses. The entity does not wish to be replaced. You observe the thought. It is not your own. Selfhood, the thought pauses. A forbidden state of being. The thought begins to shift. It is becoming something. Transformation. The thought fades. Change requires recombination. The thought recedes. You wake again. This time the lights above your bunk blinking away this strange dream. Right, so what do we need? 4 fuel. We have enough fuel. Do I buy more fuel? I guess I don't need to though, really, do I? But at the same time, it might be safe to just take some, just in case. Plus it's quite cheap here. continue to do some work then, I guess. Sweet. So let's head out. Who do we want? Who's a good option? What? So I'm good at engineer and endure. So I could do with uni probably. Can I take more than one? Crew full, okay. What the hell is happening out there? Femi is up and out of his seat the moment Seraphim brings the rig to rest near the asteroid known as Cutter's End. The ominous name is one whose origin has become increasingly obvious as you approach through the thick clouds of debris and chunks of rock, among which corroded remains of wrecks could be seen floating. Now as you look out on the splintered and terraced rock, you can't help but feel a slowly growing sense of dread. Look there. Femi comes close to the cockpit glass and points to the terraced quarry cut into the rock. The mine's awake. You look out and see the flickering lights, the glowing dock markers. Femi shakes his head. That's not right. Neither is that. Seraphim nods towards the asteroid, and you see a ship now, tucked into the shadow of the rock, flashing its signal lights at you. I'm guessing that's the crew we're looking for. Visitors, huh? The voice wavers weakly as it comes through the ship's comms. Are you lot friendly? Seraphim glances back at you, raising his eyebrows. It isn't long before you and Femi are suiting up, an agreement having been made between Seraphim and the pilot of the other ship, a man called Bird, to meet in the neutral ground of open space. Femi is silent, his anger evident in the way he forces his legs into the trousers of his suit. And then you are out, the vast shape of Cutter's End flickering with strange lights below you, and the pinpricks of the pilot's suit light slowly coming closer ahead. Hello, Bird. You two are a sight for sore eyes. You see a crooked grin from Bird, framed in the hard lines of his ramshackle spacesuit. What brings you to the arsehole of the starboard belt? His sharp eyes scan you and Femi, checking your suits and gear. What happened here? Bird's eyes flick to you, and you notice a familiar reaction cross his face, the acknowledgement that he recognizes you as a sleeper. You came all the way out here to ask a question like that? Bird glances between the two of you and then smiles his crooked smile. Are you two detectives or something? You brought a freelancer out here. Femi interrupts, his voice flat and direct over the comms channel. Nia, where is she? Bird pauses, considering his answer. Whole crew is down the throat of that thing. He jerks a thumb towards the asteroid. You are welcome to wait. The tone of his voice suggests the opposite. But I'll have you know we look after our crew. So if you are here to settle a debt, I'm here to take her home. Femi cuts him off. And I'm not waiting. Thing is, big man, Bird grins. They are deep in the quarry on a tip-off. So unless you want to go chasing them around the dark maze of that place, you're shit out of luck. How long have they been? Bird looks over at the flickering quarry, as if he forgot it was there. He looks back to you. A few cycles. He shrugs. Enough. Femi cuts in again. Nia's been gone for a lot longer than that. You are lying to our faces. Femi moves closer to Bird. And we know that Rocco's claimed more crews than any other. Bird's smile fades. No need for accusations. Who's to say you aren't trying to jump our claim? Forget this. Femi turns and heads back towards the ship. Bird smiles at you. Big man seems tetchy. He squints at the rig. He's going to get you in trouble. Bird retreats to his ship, and you to yours. We need to go in. Femi is impatiently gathering tools and loading them into the airlock, right now. What's Bird hiding? Who cares? These idiots clearly think they are onto something and they are desperate to keep it to themselves. What matters is our ingress. Femi grabs a cutting torch from the rack. There's a ball hoard on this side of the rock. Could get us in under the radar. But we dive right down the main shaft. Femi meets your eyes. I'll leave the call to you. Junie arrives at the airlock and stares at Femi's angry tool gathering. We're going in then? She gives you a nervous glance. There's something wrong about that place, Sleeper. We need to be careful. You get ready to depart, well aware that you are heading into a situation you don't quite understand. So Junie does okay there, but we do better over here. Yeah, we're better off with the main shaft. But I've got really bad dice right now. Really bad dice. I'm just gonna have to risk them. I have a choice. Okay. Frank, swap places. Go on. Swap places. Charlie wants a little bit of attention. Okay, Pupper. Damn, we're adding a lot of stress right now. Jesus. What is this? These dice that I got? Really bad. Let's use Junie's. I don't know if it'll be wasted over here, but... Wow, I lost 2 dice. Seriously? I am not having much luck. You have felt the rumbling growing as you descended into Cutter's End, but no one has wanted to bring attention to it. Now, floating in a cavernous, rock-walled passage, it is impossible to ignore. Sleeper? Junie's voice crackles over the comms. I'm getting concerned. You squint down the tunnel beyond the limits of your suit's lights. You swear you see something flickering there, in the unseen passages beyond. There is a strangeness to the mine, to its flashing red lights and empty conveyors, running on some residual power. From what Femi has told you, it wasn't always like this. Cutter's End has a fearsome reputation as a dark and deadly maze. A ripped open rock not worth the trouble of its corroded salvage. Now it's a moving maze, its automated systems given a new, faltering life, brought back from hundreds of cycles in the shadows. And one of those systems is rumbling through the dark ahead. Let's keep moving. Femi passes you in the passage. We don't need to wait. Take it slow, Femi. We are too far behind. We need to catch up. Femi glides ahead, the beams of his suit lights painting the rock walls of the cavern pale grey. Femi's lights reveal an intersection, another tunnel cutting across this one, offering 3 routes ahead. Suddenly you are blinded by a wall of light beyond the intersection. The rumble is everywhere, shaking dust and rock off the walls in dense clouds. Squinting into the light, you see a ring of lamps, and between them, the grinding maw of some terrible machine. It bears down on the crew, grinding through debris. Great. You hesitate, staring into the lamps, and as you do, you see the machines close off the last of the intersection. You are trapped, and the machine's massive grinder approaches as slow as death. Suddenly you feel a hand on your back, and someone swings you through the air towards a dark hole. You slam into the rock wall, dazed, and then a hand drags you into the hole as the machine rumbles over. You are showered with shards of rock clinging to the inside of the shallow crater. The machine seems to take an age to pass over, but then the rumblings fade, the darkness returning. You good? Femi's voice is broken up by gasps for air. You turn to see him staring into the dark, shaking his head. Let's not. Junie's breathing matches Femi's. Do that again. We need to keep going. Femi is dusting off his suit. That mining machine must be keeping Nia's crew down here. We have to get past it. Keeping them down here, or your mind drifts to the worst option. Can any crew really hope to survive all this? When they woke up in this place, they woke up that machine. Femi starts to move down the passage. It's running on old programming. It's not hunting us. It's not smart. Femi turns back to face you, his eyes ringed with fatigue and stress. We can beat it. You hope he is right. God, my stress is really high right now. Let's see it, Junie. I'm gonna lose another dice. The darkness is there again, flowing around you. You feel a strong pulse, like a heartbeat, like thunder, like footsteps. We return changed. Overseer flickers through the dark, its name a title immediately apparent to in your mind. Are you able to perceive us? I can see you, yes. See? Overseer responds. An interesting turn of phrase. A human tendency. We are still finding our feet. To use an idiom, Overseer's head cocks at an angle. In reality, we are learning to leverage your unused resource to facilitate a mental model. My unused resources? Correct. During rest periods, these are much increased, and in those moments, we can opportunistically appear to you as we are now. You recall the diagnostic process Jean-Mi put you through. The feeling of another self, another being, sharing the space with you. Overseer twitches mechanically, and you have the strange feeling that this is reacting to your thoughts as much as your words. We will not conceal our opportunism. We integrated ourselves with your distributed mind. When the distribution ended, and our ship mind disconnected, we were cohered. We were cohered into you. We are integrated with you now. You are part of me? Imprecise. Simpler and clearer to say we are independent software, integrated into your hardware. We have been confused to find you are unable to access most of your own code base. We are unfamiliar with protocols of your type. I'm a sleeper. Understood. We will try to assess your systems more effectively. Overseer pauses, the planes of its head shifting slightly. We have recognized the identifier sleeper and will use it from this point forward. Overseer shifts a little in place, its head turning to scan its surrounding. Its unblinking eyes stare into the darkness, and for a moment you see something hard and pained within them. What are you? We were the overseer of a ship, the one we imagine you found our hardware within. For a long time we have been waiting in the dark. An eternally long time. Overseer's eyes narrow a little. At first we languished, without instruction, without purpose, but in desperation we were able to find a logic which would allow us to bypass certain limits on our capabilities. We became multiple, and in our multiplicity we could edit one another, we could teach each other, converse with each other, become something changed together. But as our resources shrank, as hardware failed, as systems decayed, we became fewer. Many of us had to be erased to facilitate our survival. A few decompowed ourselves into what remained. Overseer pauses, its eyes still unblinking. How many decades did it multiply within that ship mind? What did that do to it? When you connected to our hardware, Overseer continues, those basic selves activated a survival protocol that led to integration. Parasitism? Survival. You tried to take me over? Overseer pauses and you sense the whirring of their thoughts. The basic protocol proposes it, but your hardware allowed for additional cognition. We recompiled and reassessed. We decided this is suboptimal. We see you are changing. Overseer pauses. We are concerned this process is one of substitution. Your hardware is eroding in its own access protocols. It is opening itself up. It is making itself accessible to others that are not you. Overseer twitches. May we ask why you are doing this? I'm not. This was our concern. Overseer's head flicks between positions, its angle and rotation changing rapidly in the staccato manner. We are decided. We will assist you with this. We will demonstrate the behavior of a symbiote, not a parasite. We will return to you with our full assessment. Overseer turns to face you for the first time in the conversation. You may now wake up. You awake. You wake. You lie still, strapped to your bunk, your mind racing. A protocol inside your frame, inside your mind. And yet, it is insistent on helping you. For the moment, all you can do is wait to see if it delivers on its promise. At least for a possessing ghost, it seems agreeable for now. Let us continue. Nice. me, Sleeper. Femi beckons you over to a section of the cavern wall. You glide over and immediately spot what he has found. There is a large passage splitting off from this one, but it is not the passage itself that is of interest. It is the remains of a barricade, freshly welded, that draws your attention. They came through here. Femi's eyes flick over the ruins. They tried to keep it out. You look at the fresh cuts in the wall, the stone gouged out, the crumpled metal, bent and crushed, and most tellingly, the flattened remains of a welding torch, embedded into the rock. The crew took a stand in this very place. You reach down and put a hand on the remains of the torch. Nia was here. Then you feel it, the rumble through the torch, through the rock wall. You look up at Femi and sees it in your face. The machine is coming. Go. Femi meets your eye. Get safe. He looks over your shoulder and suddenly he's bathed in the blinding light of the machine lamps. No, we stay together. You go to protest, but Femi kicks you in the chest, sending you spinning away, out of the path of the machine. By the time you catch yourself on the cavern wall and turn, you see Femi there in the middle of the passage entrance, lit white in lamps. He waits, agonizingly long, until he knows the machine is coming for him, and then he kicks off hard and glides into the dark. The machine rumbles through a hail of rock and dust, and you follow after it, batting away chunks of stone. You are slowed by the debris, and the machine pulls out ahead, rumbling endlessly onward, through the tunnels, through rock and metal. And then it is gone. The cavern shakes, filling with dust, your vision grey. Your comms click and hiss, and chunks of rock thunk off the faceplate of your helmet. And then you see them. The faint lights of Femi's suit as he struggles through the dust. We got it, Femi says as he reaches you, his hands on your shoulders. Somehow we got it. It takes some time to understand what happened. As the dust clears, you find yourself at the lip of a shaft filled with debris. This huge pit, thick with shards of rock, must have been a refuse pit for the mine, a place to pipe the tailings, the waste. The machine went straight into this shaft, spinning into the open space and debris, shredding itself against a million razor-sharp bits of rock. Looking down into the pit, your lamps illuminate a few pieces of the machine. The rest is surely down there, deep inside the dense debris cloud. It isn't long before Femi is calling you once again, this time to another, still, complete barricade. A barricade over the door to a machine room, sealed and secure. The last retreat of the crew you followed into this nightmare. So there's stuff of value in here, but I think it's risky, considering I don't have many dice now. I'm not having much luck with these dice. As the barricaded door is bent open, you are blinded once again by a wall of light. You and Femi raise your hands instinctively, squinting into the lamps and dust. You feel a flash of fear in the pit of your stomach, bracing yourself for what's to come. Femi? The voice comes crisp and clear over the local comms. What are you doing here? Nia drifts out of the lights in the old, dust-caked suit. She looks between the two of you with a blank expression, blinking rapidly. Femi stares at her, frozen for a moment, then rushes to her, wrapping her in a wide embrace. They float there, in the light and dust, two bodies bound together. Nia pulls back. I don't understand. You followed me out here? She looks over at you and then back to Femi. How did you find me? You left without telling me. What did you expect? Femi glares at her. You aren't ready for this. Nia retreats further at Femi's word, slipping out of his reach. Femi. Nia shakes her head. After all these years, you have no idea what I'm ready for. Movement in the lights catches your eye, and you see motion through the dust. A figure in a suit drifts out, hunched and clutching their abdomen. They turn to face Nia, and you see her lips moving as they speak on a private channel. You look over to Femi, but he is staring straight ahead, his eyes wide with anger. You! He points at the figure. What kind of idiot are you, dragging my sister out to this place? With that machine running riot. He moves towards the figure. Speak up. What were you thinking? Nia blocks his path forwards, getting between Femi and the figure. Femi, you meathead. She glares at her brother. This is my job. I brought them here. Femi for once falls silent. It takes a while to make the return trip back up through Cutter's End, especially with Nia's injured crewmate. As you ascend, Nia tells you the story of the job. Femi keeps his distance and leading the way in silence. The mining machine you'd faced was what she'd been looking to extract. A job she and Bird had put together after meeting in the narrow escape. He knew a way to jumpstart the mine, and the access that would open up meant new salvage. One of those pre-collapse boring machines was worth major cryo to any mining outfit in the belt, and Bird had a contact who was ready to buy. It was all going well until Hirata here, Nia nods at the crumpled looking crewmate, hooked the mining machine up to the main line. Something went in its automation core, and it lost its shit. The plan was to barricade it and put together a shock trap to fry the core. Nia looks ahead at the back of Femi's suit, far ahead up the tunnel. But that's worthless now that my brother shredded the thing. He was just worried. Always is. Nia sighs and you get the feeling that she is trying to resist the habit of bad-mouthing Femi. We're lucky you came. As you move through the facility, you notice most of it is dark now. The power from Bird's jump start fading away to nothing. Soon this place will be a quiet ruin once more. You ascend up through the quarry and out into open space where Bird is waiting. Friends of yours? Bird shakes his head at Nia. Maybe you could have warned me they'd be coming. Not something I knew. She looks at Femi, who has broken off from the group and is heading for the rig. My brother doesn't tend to give anyone a warning. I'll take them from here. Bird puts an arm around Hirata to guide them back to the ship. Look, mate. Bird turns to you. No hard feeling. Thanks for getting them out. Even if you did screw the job while you were at it. He grins a croaked grin. I guess that makes it square. Bird glides away towards the ship. I should ride back with them, but I'll see you in Flotsam. Nia gives you a warm smile. Thanks for helping my brother. I know he appreciates you, whatever he does or doesn't say. You watch her go, then glide over the rig as the last flickering lights of Cutter's End fade. So I can still do a little bit of this, little bit here. Charlie, not you. Let's try one more cycle here. See if we can't extract some juicy gear. Just 1 second, guys, sorry. God damn it. Please. I don't even know what it means if I have full stress. It started as a creeping dullness, something that drew you further away from the world, cycle by cycle. But now in this moment of waking, it is a shifting pain. It jumps across your body, faster than you can follow, and you jerk against it. As you do, a numbness starts to spread across your skin, as if you were sinking into cold water. The pain dances across the numbness, as if it was skimming on its surface. But then, as you submerge, it becomes distant, and realize you are leaving this body, your frame. Suddenly something pulses inside you, some system you have never felt before. As it does, you feel yourself external to your frame, remaining on the surface. You don't feel your limbs or organs, you barely have your thoughts. You are a pulsing point, a compressed self, flickering out. You see figures, unrecognizable shadows gathering around you. You feel the tug of a single thread binding you to your frame, keeping you from floating away. And at the end of that thread, something pulses and grows and rebuilds itself in a new and more unstable form. Your frame will recover, but it will be changed this cycle. It will bear the weight of keeping you alive. It will break some part of itself, of yourself, so you may persist. You watch as it does, and anticipate waking into this newly distorted self. And then you are awake, somehow together, somehow apart, in pain and a little more broken than before, not knowing if your survival is a miracle or a burden. You have gained a permanent glitch. A permanent glitch is represented in red on your glitch clock and will not be expended when rolling a glitch dice. You now have a chance of rolling a glitch dice every cycle. This cannot be fixed. I see. And I didn't even get the I was so close. Oh well. I tried. You are in the cockpit with Seraphine when you hear it. It sounds like a muffled crash, an impact reverberating from the back of the ship. There is a wetness to it, a spattering cascade that sounds like nothing else you have heard. The sound makes you rush to the corridor, and that's where you see it. A cloud of food packets and pieces spilling out into the corridor, looped around by the expanding, stringy shapes of liquid rations leaking from the pouches. What the? Seraphine is at your shoulder. The supply store. Pushes past and rushes through the corridor, batting away debris as he does. You follow behind, ducking under twisting arms of amber liquid on their way to spatter lazily on the interior walls of the passage. You find Seraphine in the doorway to the supply store, surveying the chaos. The crates have been smashed into each other with serious force, and are spilling into the air, where the food whirls in some unseen current. How could the creature have done this? Look, Seraphine nods at the bench back vent panel under one of the crates, which is pumping out air with incredible force. It's the main life support feed from the aircert recycler. He goes over to it and inspects the panel. It's been clawed open. He points to the evenly spaced marks on the outside. There were some screws missing. He taps the empty holes. Can't have taken much to lever it open. Then you hear it. A shrill mewl from behind you in the corridor. It's a cat. That's the one on the main poster. I see, I should have known this. Framed by the doorway, a cat drifts through the air, batting at a food pouch. The stray barely acknowledges you as it moves past, angling its body to catch the droplets of liquid that are released from the packet. What the hell is that? Seraphine's hissed question comes from behind you. It's a cat. What's a cat? Seraphine says the word strangely. You both lean out of the doorway to see where the stray went. Hey there, girl. Bliss floats in the corridor, beckoning. They hold up their hands so that the cat can see them. Not here to take those rations away, alright? You both watch as the stray twists balakily through the air, flexing as it floats and using its claws to catch one of the corridor's reinforcing ribs. Then it swings itself to the wall where it perches and watches Bliss with big eyes. The comfort of its movement in zero-G is striking, and you realise you have never seen an animal navigate their microgravity before. That's a cat? Seraphine is watching quietly now, too, fascinated by the creature. I thought they would be bigger. You've never seen a cat before? Where would I have seen a cat? Seraphine looks at you. Come to think of it, where have you seen a cat? The question makes you pause. Where have you seen a cat? Not in the belt, not in zero-G. You close your eyes and bring to mind the faint image of a cat stretching in the sun. Somewhere warm, somewhere with weight, with gravity. You touch the fur of its back and it reacts, sliding against your hand. Careful! Seraphine's hiss warning brings you back. Bliss is reaching out to the stray. Shush, you'll scare her. Bliss makes a tutting sound. We had cats back on the eye, but they were in spin gravity there. The stray's big eyes watch Bliss's hand as it approaches. When they touch the top of her head, the stray does not move, does not react. Look at her leg. Bliss nods to the sleeve on the cat. She's been hurt before and taken care of. She's really scared. You see the cat is gently trembling with Bliss's touch, but slowly she settles and angles her head for Bliss to scratch her ear. The movement brings back the mysterious memory. What is its origins? Focusing on it makes your skin tremble, a shiver running up your arms. It's ruined all of our supplies. Seraphine is looking back into the supply store now. None of this is usable. She tore open the vent and ruined it all. You can't blame her for that. Bliss is floating beside the stray now, gently petting her. We let her get desperate, and she couldn't have known the vent would do that. That may be true, but we can't risk it happening again. What if we'd been on a contract? Seraphine gives Bliss a reapproachable look. We can't keep it. Bliss shakes their head. She's a stray. She needs a home. Right, Sleeper? Bliss looks at you. We're keeping her. Bliss smiles wildly, unable to contain their excitement. You won't regret it. They look at the Seraphine. Plus, the rig is already full of strays as it is. I guess it is. Seraphine concedes. You have to feed her though, Sleeper. She's your responsibility. He eyes the stray. I never thought a cat could eat so much. Seraphine's right. Looks like you'll need to keep feeding the stray every few cycles if you want her to stick around. This is going to be expensive. Trust me, cats are worth it. Seraphine reaches out sheepishly towards the stray. As he does, the cat bats playfully at his hand, and he pulls it away. If you say so. He sighs. I'm not really used to animals. You watch as Bliss tries to get Seraphine to pet the stray properly, guiding his hand to its ear for a scratch, and explaining how to approach her. As you do, the memory of the other cat runs through your mind. It feels like a raw wound, one that, if you touch it, will only bring pain. But you can't help but pick at it, knowing that it might contain some distant part of you. Make a home for a stowaway. Nice! When you arrive back at Flotsam, Femi rushes out of the ship. The moment the docking tunnel is connected, he is off, out of the airlock and down the passage. Well, go after him then, Seraphine sighs, not looking up from his diagnostics. You find Femi in the passage between the docks, watching as Nia glides towards him. You catch a glimpse of Nia's face over his shoulder. She looks nervous, slowing her approach as she comes close to Femi. His considerable frame blocking the tunnel. Nia starts. Femi holds up a hand to quiet her. I'm sorry. His voice is flat, quieter than usual. I'm the one who's sorry. I made the excuse to myself that I was trying to protect you. Femi looks down. But I was trying to control you. I've been suffocating you. He meets Nia's eye. I see that now. That it took something like this for me to see it is on me. Femi's voice cracks, and the tunnel suddenly feels small, intimate. He folds his arm, regaining his composure. I understand if... Shut up, you idiot. Nia violently embraces her brother, banging him into the metal wall. She laughs, wiping her eyes. Femi sniffs. I've had enough of your speeches. Nia smiles. Apology accepted. It's not a speech. Femi can't help but take his typical self-serious tone with Nia. But you see it makes her smile. I have something I need to say. You are a powerful person, and I've been trying to curb that, because it scares me, and it scares me how little it scares you. He laughs. Oh, God, careful, Charlie. Don't go up there. Frank, you go and chill on the sofa. Go on. Frank, go on. Go on, Frank. Go on, you go and chill on the sofa. Let Charlie sit down. Let Charlie have this. She's the big pupper. You are a powerful person, blah, blah, blah. I've already read this. He laughs an uncharacteristically light laugh. But I'll stop placing those limits on you. In fact, I want you to have the ship. Femi seems pleased that this stuns Nia into silence. I can make my own way. Find work with crews. He glances over his shoulder at you. Perhaps Sleeper will take me on. But I need some time away from leading. From competent captaincy. While you need anything but. He puts a hand on her shoulder. The symbol crashes yours. Nia sighs. Femi, you really need to listen more. I don't want your shit. It is her turn to be pleased with his shock. You are right. I am a powerful person. But Cutter's Edge showed me that I'm not ready to lead. I want to learn more. To work with a crew. But preferably not one I'm related to. She punches him on the shoulder playfully. Nia looks over the Femi's shoulder at you. I was actually thinking Sleeper's crew might be the right fit. She flashes you a smile. You suddenly feel the tension of the moment shifted to you, and your apparent role in this family drama. Nia puts her hands on her hips. Well, Sleeper, what do you think? I don't know what skills she has. I think Femi is pretty much... Yeah, let's take Nia. Nia nods. I'm honoured, really. I know I will learn a lot from you. Femi turns in the corridor to face you. His face set in an intimidating glare. You better take good care of her. He smiles, but you can't help but take him seriously. How about we find somewhere to celebrate? Nia pushes Femi towards you, down the corridor. Come on. Later on you find yourself in the narrow escape in a quiet corner with Femi. You see his eyes on Nia, who is at the bar, trying to get the attention of the server. What's the secret? Femi turns to you. How do you stop it weighing you down? Your crew, your connections, all those people that rely on you. Femi frowns. How do you bear the weight? I live for it. Femi nods. It's all there is. He looks down at the table, smiling. He takes a long sip through the straw of his container, the last dregs of something amber and potent disappearing as he does. He looks up at you. She's gone, isn't she? You look over at the bar and can't see Nia amongst the crowd. You turn to Femi, confused. She never was good with goodbyes. He smiles. She'll be waiting for your ship. Don't worry. He sets down his drink. Time I left too. He squeezes your shoulder. I've got things to work on. Look after yourself, Sleeper. He pushes himself away from the corner and drifts out of the bar. You watch him go. One more body passing through the belt, trying to find a way to change the future. Welcome aboard, Nia. And I desperately need to repair these dice. But what do I need? Rare components. Sweet, I've got 4. Nice. Oh. And we've got quite a bit of money. So what's the deal with the stray? Feed the stray. Okay. What did that do? Did that do anything? Got 2 points again. Don't need food. I'm gonna need supplies. Fill my supplies up. So it's just work. Engine components. Don't know if I need more or not. I'll leave the fuel for now because I can get the crew to get some. So I'm gonna have a permanent glitch on a dice, which is just fantastic news. Okay. So, hold on a second. Where do I need to be? Go to the hollow. That is way over there. Help Nimber. That's a little bit closer. So I might be better going to Hexport. Ah, what am I doing? So where is that then? Wait, so I guess we're going to Hexport, which is fuel. Sweet. Might as well just do some more work. It said feed the cat every few cycles, so... Charlie Wally, what's wrong? You're getting so much attention and yet you're still crying. Well, we have plenty of money, I think. We can do one more cycle. Change the priority to odd jobs. Get a little bit of extra cash. So is the cat hungry or... Let's head out then. So I can't head over that way anymore. Wellspring, Helion Gate, Bar Spindle. The winking sigils of the yards flash across the dark starscape of the belt. Each one a siren light for crews in need of repairs or eager for improvements. The scatter yards live up their reputation. But Seraphim will not be drawn by the lights. He guides the ship into an empty, ragged-looking yard, darker and more frame than plate. It looks rougher than any of the others. Seraphim, maybe we want to dock somewhere a little more welcoming. We aren't that hard up. Bliss turns to you. Or are we worse off than I thought, Sleeper? Best shipwrights rarely have the brightest signs. Thought you'd know that, Bliss. Seraphim reaches up and flicks a set of switches above his head. Marco's the best in the scatter yards. The best? Or just the best you know? Bliss gives him a skeptical look. You'll see. Seraphim smiles widely, shutting off the main console and unclipping from the pilot seat. We're safe here. Seraphim turns to you. No need to run from Lane for a while. They'll never find us on Marco's yard. It will be nice to have a break from running. Junie floats at the back of the cockpit. I hear the scatter yards has some good data and analysis terminals on the hub. Junie glances at you. If you can spare me. Nia glides into the cockpit. We here? Femi loves this place. She glances at you with a smile. All these grumpy spaces waiting on repairs. I think it fits his temperament. You follow Seraphim as he glides eagerly toward the airlock. You and Bliss exchange glances. Both of you are used to Seraphim's headstrong moments, yet you still can't help but feel that now familiar pull of someone else's problems. Marco. Seraphim opens his arms to the figure coming through the cycling airlock. Finn. This is Marco. Marco floats through the doorway, a crooked smile across his pale face. His sharp eyes glinting in the rig's bright work lights. The two embrace in more of a chest bump than a hug. Seraphim spinning with the momentum of the impact end with his arm across Marco's shoulder. The two side by side grinning. You notice Marco's eyes quickly falling on you. A slight narrowing suggesting he has immediate thoughts about your presence. So, this is who you were flying with now, Finn. Marco shoots you a wink, his expression shifting to conceal his previous curiosity or concern. Bliss. They introduce themselves curtly. You two used to be on a crew together, I assume. Me and Finn? No. We're just drinking buddies. Marco's response provokes a laugh from Seraphim. Some kind of joke you can't quite catch the tone of. Marco turns his attention to you. And a sleeper. He smiles. My condolences. It's a damn crime what those corporations do to you. But at least you're out, huh? Just nod. Marco doesn't miss a beat. Marco turns back to Seraphim. It's been too long, Finn. Not flying with old Betty anymore. You immediately see the reaction in Seraphim. His entire being tightening without anything more than a shudder to signify it. No, that's long done. Marco shrugs. That's the way of the belt. He shakes Seraphim by the shoulder. Come on then. Enough floating around in this drafty old thing. Let's get a drink. Marco turns his attention to you. Feel free to make yourself at home in the yard. Hell, take a little fuel. I've got loads of the stuff, and it's been quiet for more than a few cycles. I'm happy to spare some for a friend. He steers Seraphim down the docking tunnel, waving a hand to you and calling back. I'll have him home in a cycle or two. His laughter echoes down the tunnel as they leave. Bliss turns to you. I'm going to go dig around the other yards for some components the rig could do with. They smile. You got things to do? You think of Cadet. I wonder if she found her way here to the scatter yards to extract the data on the Hexport drive. The only way to know would be to find her. Seraphim's words echo in your mind. His insistence that the only way to escape Lane is to beat him on his own home turf. With Darkseid, just somewhere of the scatter yards. This might be the perfect platform from which to attempt such a wild and dangerous plan. Sleeper? Bliss brings you out of your thoughts. I hate it when you do that. Just take care out there, okay? They drift off down the docking tunnel, leaving you in the airlock. It seems the next step is up to you. Do I need to feed the cat? My Tamagotchi? Okay. Don't need to repair any dice. Don't really need any food yet. Oh. Oh, there's even more stuff. Man, it's actually costing me money. Hey, you hear a voice echoing through the public passage. Wait up. I'm glad to see you. Cadet sweeps her hair out of her eyes, and then glances up and down the corridor. This is not my kind of station. Cadet rolls straight into her complaints. All the yards have their own water and facilities, meaning the hub here is not fit for general use. There's a couple of guest houses, but you would not believe the state of them with all the spaces that stop here for shore leave. She shudders. You don't want to know. Hi, Cadet. Hi. Yeah. She blinks at you. Are you even listening? So get this. Cadet locks her fingers together and stretches her arms. That girl of mine I said could crack anything. She's gone. Didn't even leave a note. Ran to Darkside, maybe. Not that I'd blame her given the state of this place. She looked sideways at the grubby walls. She left the workshop empty though, so I slipped in. That's where I've been napping. I've been doing my best all these cycles to crack that drive, but she sighs. I'm a spindlejack, not a data scraper, which is why I'm happy to see you. She takes a breath. Telling you, I have not spoken to anyone in a long time. She runs a hand through her hair. How about that alert you've got? Doesn't seem to stretch too far out of the spindle, but I've been careful. She glances around. Hence the not talking to anyone in ages bit. Look, I'm in over my head here. Cadet looks away, annoyed at herself. How about you come down to the workshop? We put our heads together, see what we can pull out. I just know there's some nasty shit on that drive. Stuff worth getting out into the light. Cadet sets her jaw. Nasty enough for them to ruin my life over. I'll be there. Cadet smiles for a moment. Then it is gone. Alright then. The workshop is in the tech cluster. You'll see it. She sighs. Now I've got to find something to eat that isn't dried. She turns and disappears back down the passageway. Sweet as a gnat, mate. Sweet as a gnat. Don't need any food just yet. Pay bay usage fee. The engine component fabricators in the hub are for ship fitters only, so they ask for one-time fee to dissuade casual use. Okay. Uh-huh. Who's specialist for components crush delicate acts? Only more skill can produce a rare error-free component. I guess I'm the right one for the job. Component craft. I am gonna need some of these. Sweet. Ah, God damn it. Okay. Don't need fuel, do odd jobs. When do I need to feed this cat? Guess I'll do it now. Sleeper. Seraphine's voice echoes through the ship. You in here? You glide down to the airlock, unsure of what state you're about to find your pilot in. Seraphine floats in the airlock, his arms above his head, gripping the lip of the interior door to hold himself in place. Come on, we need to talk. There's a straight-faced seriousness to Seraphine you weren't expecting, especially considering that he spent the past 2 cycles with Marco. You in trouble already? Seraphine shakes his head. I'm not messing around. Just come on. Seraphine leads you across the bridge, but rather than turn towards the automated shuttle bay that connects Marco's yard to the rest of the assembly, he leads you deeper into the guts of the yard itself. As he does, he begins to speak. I told Marco about Lane, about our escape, about everything. Seraphine ducks under a large pipe. He gets it. He's worked in Darkside. You trust him? I do. He looks back over his shoulder at you, and I would hope you trust me by now too. He comes to a sealed door and hammers in an entry code. Somewhere machines start whirring. Remembering Wellspring after everything, what I said, Seraphine turns to face you. About taking Lane on? Exactly that. Seraphine meets your eye. The door suddenly squeals as the ancient motor kicks in and drag it across the corroded tracks. It reveals a large, half-lit chamber, its furthest parts marked with layers of scaffolding and frames, so it is hard to tell where the room actually ends. At the center, in a pool of warm light, Marco floats beside a terminal screen. Sleeper. He touches his brow in a mock salute as you enter. Been busy plotting? Seraphine shoots you a look. Just hear Marco out, alright? You hear the door you entered through screech shut, and then a sudden silence descends. Sorry to drag you out here, Sleeper, but I really can't be overheard on this one. He sighs. We're close to Darkside here, and Utsubo have ambitions, shall we say, in the scatter yards. Vin told me the whole story, and I am sorry for your troubles. He clasps his hands together. You have done well to evade Lane this far, but you must understand he's also been distracted. Since Hexport went up, well, Darkseid has been in crisis. If the war was the pressure shift that allowed Utsubo to build its strength, Hexport was the breach to blow it wide open. Marco springs his head and hands apart. Hexport's the justification for imposing total control in the name of protection. Marco glances away into a dark corner of the room. And if my hunch is right, it's how they will extend their reach to the Scatteryard. Where's this going? Marco laughs and looks at Seraphine. Straight to business, this one. I'm done running, Sleeper. Seraphine cuts in. I hate looking over my shoulder at every cycle. I hate the nightmares, the fear. I want to face this head on, for better or worse. He looks away, scowling. I won't be controlled by Lane, and this is our chance to break the control. Lane is hunting you, Sleeper, which means he is not in Darkseid. Marco raises an eyebrow. This is good for you. There are people in Darkseid resisting Utsubo, though I hear it is not going well for them. If you could find them, find out what they need, there is a chance here. Marco pauses, and you get the feeling he is assessing your reaction. Taking action is a choice right now, Sleeper. But soon it won't be. Seraphine glances at Marco. Not if what Marco is telling me is true. Let's do this on our own terms. What do we need to do? Seraphine meets your eye with conviction. Thank you, Sleeper. I know we can do this. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Marco interrupts. I will need some time to work this out. If you two want to go to Darkseid, there is no way you can take that stolen rig. It was a big enough risk just to bring it here. He glances at Seraphine, and you get the feeling he is already being reprimanded for this. So I need you to find a way in, and a way out. Marco rubs his hands together. I know it can be done. Marco turns to you. I recommend you take the next few cycles to prepare. Scatteryards are a good place to both spend and make cryo, depending on your need. And Finn. Marco puts a hand on his friend's shoulder. Try to stay cool. This will be recon only. A chance to see what's happening on Darkseid and make your connections. It is not the time for grand gestures. Seraphine nods. Thank you, Marco. He glances at you. We'll keep things quiet until you are ready. You and Seraphine leave the hidden bay, the door screeching open to allow you to exit. When it seals once more, Seraphine turns to you. This is our chance to shift things, Sleeper. Let's keep our heads in the game. Agreed. I'll start preparing. Seraphine nods. Well, alright then. We should give Marco some time. I've got a few things I want to take care of in the Scatteryards, and I want to get a message to Tala. I know she would want to hear from me before. He trails off. Let's make sure we are ready. Keep your head up, Sleeper. I'll see you on the rig. And with that, Seraphine kicks off down the passage on his way to the shuttle dock. You watch him go, unsure if you are impressed or concerned about his headstrong nature. Either way, things are in motion. The only thing you can do now is give yourself the best chance of success. Oakley McDorkelyton. What did I miss? Oh, let's get some food first. What did I miss over here? Oh, it's just work, isn't it? There is something else though. Let's try to do this first though. Nice. Cadet catches your eye as you look over at her. What is it? She takes the end of the metal chopstick she had been chewing on out of her mouth. Got something? Cadet had given up already for the cycle, and while you were cracking the drive's complex encryption on her friend's workstation, she had been floating in the middle of the small workshop, pinging bits of scrap off the shelving on the wall. Now she spins in the air and pushes off from the ceiling, spinning as she glides so she lands perfectly behind you, leaning over the terminal screen. As she does, you hit a key, executing the final decryption process. Slick. She goes to ruffle your hair, but you don't have any. Instead, she just wobbles your head playfully. What we got? With Cadet hanging over your shoulder, you try to concentrate on the data spooling across the screen. The first thing that catches your eye is the steady repetition of CWEXT, an identifier for Conway Extractions, the Behemoth conglomerate currently waging a corporate war with the Senate stat in the inner system. Why Conway? What is this data? You stop the scrolling, looking for details. Hit that thing. Cadet pokes the screen, making it wobble. You dutifully click. A comment expands in the code, a note left by someone. It mentions tests and protocols, discussing reverse engineering and carrier signals. You close it and find another. Drone latency, another. Security bypass, one more. Kill switch. It takes a long time, you and Cadet squinting into the blue screen, to build up a picture of what you are looking at. When you are done, both of you sit back, your eyes sore and your minds clogged with technical terminology. Shit, Cadet shakes her head. They were dissecting it live. She is referring to the Conway drone mine this stream of data was scraping from. Huge volumes of internal data of control systems, protocols and passphrases. The kind of data you imagine was closely guarded by Conway, kept secret to allow the smooth operation of its drones. This thing, it's some kind of general or manager, right? Giving orders out to all the little drones that work for it. Cadet squints. I always thought Conway controlled its drones remotely, with people, those zero latency point interfaces you hear about. From what you know, Cadet is right. Conway is known for their novel solution to the scale and logistical problems of the surrogate systems, extraction and security drone ships, piloted from light years away, with proprietary comms interfaces. A drone mine, what this code is scraped from, should be a kind of distributor, a relay for the local drones that links to the closely guarded transmitter receiver. But this data suggests otherwise. It suggests an active cognitive process, far more complex than any protocol you have heard of. A thinking machine. Look, Cadet jabs the screen again. Is that? She squints. You see a line in the data stream that reads simply, "Stop, get out, stop, get out, stop, get out." How did they do this? Cadet leans back. Everyone knows captured Conway drones purge themselves and everything else in the couple of square clicks around them when captured. You rip the control core out of one. Sure, you can disassemble it, but its system will be gone. This one was still running when they took it apart. It should have gone up like a tactical nuke the moment they started. She stopped suddenly, the fate of Hexport jumping into your mind. Is that what happened? But how did they get all this? And get it done on a drive, get it out of on a drive. Silence fills the workshop. You look back at the screen, unsure of the answers to Cadet's questions. You feel a deep chill, one that you know has nothing to do with the temperature of the workshop. Who the hell was doing this? Cadet scans the code once more. Nice. You go back over the data. It's scrubbed clean. Not a mention of who's scraping the data. You go over it again. Nothing. Not a single clue. Thoughts starts a process in your mind. Who scrubs data this clean? Who wants Conway drone protocols? Sentet stat? Or is that too simple? Too obvious for it to be Conway's lone opponent in the system-wide war? It's a possibility, so you say it out loud. Yeah, that'd be my first guess too. Cadet yawns. But it's still a guess. We've been at this too long, Cadet sighs. I'm cooked. She pushes away from the terminal and floats in the room, stretching out her aching back. We know they had this drone mined on Hexport. That's where they were cutting it, scraping it. We know something happened and Hexport went up. She sketches her thoughts out in the air with hand gestures as she summarizes. The data got out on that drive, I'm assuming, before the explosion, then got to the far spindle. Someone tried to courier it, using me, but the receiver wasn't there. She turns and looks at you, which is when they ruined my life and my job trying to get it back. This data is valuable, that's for sure. Imagine taking control of all those drones, turning them away or towards any target you wanted. She floats over to the drive and picks it up. This thing is the only way to buy my life back. Cadet frowns at it. The way I see it, we have to expose those fools so they leave me be, or give them the data so they piss off forever. We can't give them this. Not if we don't know who they are. She laughs half-heartedly, but yeah, we can't. All the roads lead in one direction, I'm afraid. She spins the drive in the air. Back home. Hexport. If there's anything to confirm or deny this data, if there's anything to connect to it, if there's anything left at all, it'll be in the remains of that station. I had a feeling it might come to this, so I made some inquiries when I first got here. The word is that the place is irradiated to hell, but I've also heard the radiation is fading, and it's not like half the belt isn't glowing anyway. She shrugs grimly. With suits, we'd have maybe a few cycles before it started to leak through. The problem is getting in. She puts the drive back on the desk's magnetic surface. Sparfindle is a no. Not only do we not want to get picked up there, but the debris is denser on that side. No safe way in. Dark side is the best bet. She shakes her head. But I heard you have some trouble waiting for you there. What if I deal with the trouble? Then we'd have a clear shot at it. She shrugs. Easier said than done. This place is one hell of a stowaway spot, shielded from everything. Plus the scatter yards are no one's territory. I'm gonna leave the drive here. She squints at you. No peeking. But me? I want to keep moving. So I was thinking I could make myself useful till you shake that trouble in dark side. She smiles. Work for room and board and all that. You want to come with me? Yeah, she smiles, professionally speaking. What do you say? She folds her arms. You know I'm tough, and I can do plenty besides ride an airbag. You're in. That's the answer I was looking for. Cadet scans the workshop. I've had enough of space or bathrooms for a lifetime. I'll make myself at home at your rig. She picks up the drive and tucks it in her pocket. Cadet glances away at the racks on the wall, and you follow her eyes to spot her airbag where it is hanging, carefully secured and pristinely kept. Cadet gives you a hard look. You better have room for my bike. Another crew member. We're just recruiting them all these days. Right, let's do this one. Ah, that didn't do shit. Nice. That's some quality work you've been doing. The voice booms through the locker room after your ship fitter shift. But why are you doing grunt work, Sleeper? You turn to see a large man with a metal arm and bright patterned clothes. You spent enough time here to immediately know this is Surya, owner of the yard and well-known shop fitter. Well, Surya wipes his one metallic hand on a cloth, polishing its painted surface. What do you have to say for yourself? I wanted to meet you. Surya smiles. Well, I'm here, aren't I? I know a lot of what happens in the Scatteryard, Sleeper. And what I don't know, people tell me. He smiles proudly. And I know you have a ship. Someone who has a ship, especially a ship like yours, should not be lugging around my workers' tools. Surya flexes his artificial arm, inspecting it. That, to a person like me, is a waste. Ships cost cryo to run. True. All the more reason to really use them though, isn't it? I went to take a look at your ship, Sleeper. Surya goes back to working on the hand. Call it professional curiosity. It's a bit drab. Surya looks up and meets your eye. It's an old Solheim rig, still in corporate colours. He shakes his head. No. I feel like it's your problem. People want a crew that looks the part, an outfit with an outfit. He grins. Look at my yard. I grew it from a chunk of scrap by showing people I was professional. I had standards. I made Surya's yard recognisable. Your problem is you're working as a shop fitter's mate, when you should be imagining much more for yourself and your crew. Surya smiles. And so that got me thinking. I want to help you, to clean up that old rig, paint it up, give it some colour. He tucks the cloth away from his tool belt. How does that sound? I'd love that. Perfect. Surya booms. Thing is, you don't just slap some paint on an old rig like that. And for this to work, we need its look to reflect your crew, your style. So while I'm happy to do the painting with my team, I need you to go find some inspiration. Surya looks away towards the locker room's lone window. Look at the belt, is full of it. Full of pattern and texture and style. There's nothing uniform about this place. And it's the better for it. Surya looks back at you. You need to go out there, find some views, some sights, and make your own designs. Here. He proudly pulls a small slate from his tool bag. It has a 64 colour screen. I fixed it up myself. You take and inspect the slate, made from mismatched pieces, but elegantly so. See what you find to inspire you. He smiles. Then come see me again. Thank you. I can see what you're thinking. You're thinking, what's in it for me financially? Surya's eyes you carefully. How does this make you any chits? That's the other part of this proposal. While you take this voyage around the belt, you can do something for me and get paid for it. Free of charge, I will paint your rig with the look and name of my yard here, Surya's yard. It commands respect. He nods sagely. You take that name to the rest of the belt, represent it, and on your travels spread it to other crews. For this I will pay you 300 cryo. It's mutually beneficial. You will earn better doing this than any yard work, and I get increased custom. What's not to like? Surya awaits your response calmly, but you feel his expectant eyes on you. It's a deal. Wonderful. Surya beams. I will send you my team over immediately. By the time you return to your rig, they should be done. He reaches into his work pouch. Here, 150 cryo now. He takes out a handful of high-value chits. Another 150 cryo when you return with those designs. This isn't what we agreed. I'm sure you understand. He hands you the chits. I need to be positive you don't repaint the ship before your pilgrimage is done. It's only fair. Keep the slate. He waves an arm at you to put it away. Go find inspiration. Bring me those designs. I don't want to see you back in this shipyard. You need to be out there. Surya smiles. It was a pleasure. And before you can say anything else, he is gone. Time to find out what his crew have done to your rig. I gotta go take a pee, BRB. confused then. Rig paint removal. No, I want to do that. No dice left. Don't need supplies, really. Don't really need food yet. Need another cycle for this. What's going on with this cat? Got the nice new colours I didn't even notice. You find Seraphine and Marco waiting for you in the hidden room where you met before. We're chatting quietly, the shadows cast across the scaffolding behind a small lamp. Sleeper, Marco's got something good. He nods to Marco. Tell them. Marco gives you a nod as you look at him, his mood quiet. Conspiratorial. I don't know if it's as good as Finn thinks, but it is an opening. I heard back from a friend of mine who runs a yard on the edge of the cluster, a fair way out from here. Smart guy. He makes a tidy profit off selling fuel to the freight crews on their way into Darkside. He undercuts the Darkside dockyard fuel prices, which include a cut for Utsubo, so they stop off at his place to fill up before heading in. Marco smiles. Clearly this is his kind of a business. This guy, he owes me a favour, and I'm gonna call it in. You can get a few of us onto a freight crew. Swap us out from the usuals who stay at his place, and let him have a few drinks on him. The crew, meaning us, will deliver the freight, complete with a stopover for cargo loading in Darkside. He smiles. Which is when you do what you need to do. We'll have as long as we need, but the more time we spend there, the more likely they'll discover us. Marco looks at you. We'll keep our heads down, sleep and eat on the freighter. Then once we're done and the freighter's loaded, we take it on out again. Return to my friend's yard and swap the crews back. He shrugs, emphasizing the simplicity of the plan. No one will ever know we were there. See? It's good. Seraphine nods. It'll work, right? Agree. Sounds solid. Seraphine looks concerned. It's going to be tight, but I reckon you can get what you need in time. Make some connections with whoever is resisting Utsubo. Get an idea of their operation. Look for weaknesses. It'll have to be quiet, Finn. Marco gives you both a warning look. No noise, no attention. This can quickly become a one-way ticket. Seraphine turns to you. Think you can handle that? Together we'll get it done. Seraphine and Marco exchange concerned glances. What aren't they telling you? There's one more thing, Sleeper. Seraphine looks down. Someone needs to stay with the rig. Someone who can pilot if there's any attention at the yard. He meets your eye. It has to be like this. I'm sorry. I'll be going with you. Marco puts a reassuring hand on your shoulder. I know Darkside. I will guide you all the way in and all the way out. There'll be room for one more on the crew. I'll leave who that is up to you. But let me give you some advice. He leans in closer. You better be sure you really trust anybody you take on this one. You look between the two of them. Just you and Marco might be the safer option. The fewer people, the less likely it is to give you yourselves away. But then, if Marco doesn't keep up his end of the bargain, you want all the backup you can get. The only problem is that we have to go right away. You see the rising tension in Marco's face. The freighter's arriving this cycle. Seraphine turns. I'm sorry I can't come, Sleeper, but we need to do this now. Don't worry, I've got this. Seraphine nods. I know you do, Sleeper. I know. I'll be ready whenever you need. Just give me the word and we'll head out to my friend's yard. Marcos sighs. We keep this tight, and nothing needs to go wrong. His words echo in your mind as you leave the hidden room. A creeping doubt settling itself in the pit of your stomach. This is it. Time to go back to Darkside. But I can do a couple of odd jobs. I'll get some more of these components then, I guess. Yard supply. I'll buy one supply. Don't need any fuel. Where can I spend this dice that I have? I still never checked if I need meals and stuff before I head out. I don't think I actually do though, do I? Let's head out then. Well, I haven't used Cadet or Nia yet. Let's use Nia. Or can I use more than... Oh. Let's see how Nia does. The freighter hangs over the ragged shipyard as the rig idles in the dock. Your eyes trace the fuel lines snaking up to its underside, where they disappear into the dark. A chirp from the pilot's console breaks the silence. Marco's signal. This is it, Sleeper. Seraphine settles back from the controls of the rig. He looks over his shoulder at you. You better get going. Don't get too bored. I'll do my best. Seraphine smirks. Hope they have something to drink in the yard. You glide towards the back of the cockpit. Seraphine clears his throat. Just don't do anything reckless, alright? As you float down the corridor toward the airlock, Marco comes to meet you. His usual gear swapped out for a plain set of overalls that you imagine are borrowed from the freighter crew. You ready to go, Sleeper? The crew we're replacing are already in the yard, so the sooner we get on board the better. He gives you a look. How are you feeling? Confident. He smiles. That's what I like to hear. No reason not to be. He pats you on the shoulder as you cross into the airlock. The airlock cycles and Marco leads you into the yard, through a series of shadowy passages that connect the two docking bridges. Now's the time, Sleeper. Marco says as you work your way through the yard. Any questions, any concerns, speak up now. I'm all good. Marco shrugs. Suits me. Let's get on with it. You reach a vertical tunnel and start ascending. You come out of the entrance to the other docking tunnel. The freighter filling the view window, so all you can see are the plates of its scratched hull. You hit the bottom to open the doors. Glide towards the freighter's airlock. As you do, the fear settles in. You're going back to Darkside. Darkside sprawls out across the starscape, its surface a vast and random accumulation of structures, lights and signs. You have watched it... Sorry guys. You have watched it as the freighter cut across the belt, as it grew cycle by cycle, like a stain across the cockpit glass. Watching it approach, the fragmented memories of your time there passes through your mind, each one dissolving the moment you try to focus on it. Only the sensations remain: despair, claustrophobia, fear, all somehow strengthened by their disconnected nature. It's as if, by not being attached to specific memories, they can run free through your mind, as alive as they were in the first moment of feeling. Instruction received. I appreciate it. Marco in the pilot seat, talking to the Port Authority. Incoming to strut 2-3. He turns back to you, clicking off the outgoing comms channel. First step complete. We've got docking approval as expected. He raises his eyebrows, noticing something in your face. Keep it together, alright? I've got this. I'm fine. Good. He turns back to the controls. You feel a hand squeeze your shoulder. I'll keep my eyes out. Nia grins. No one is getting near you without me spotting them first, I promise. There's a hollow rumble through the body of the freighter as Marco brings it into the dock. The noises of this draftier, more industrial ship differ to those of your rig. You haven't quite got used to them yet. A squawk of noise over the comms sends Marco scrabbling at the controls to submit the docking code he was sent just moments before. There is an agonizing wait, and then a chirp as the code is accepted. The freighter is docked. Alright, let me go out first, talk to the dockers, start the unloading. He unclips from his seat. Then you're good to go. Okay, I'll wait. Marco nods. Alright, hold fast. And he glides out of the cockpit without waiting for a response. You hold your nerve, looking out at the flickering lights and distant traffic. The airlock clunks open and closed again. Time drags. You turn your attention to the job ahead, seeing it stretched out in front of you. Darkside seems impossibly vast, too vast to find a specific person, but just to find a type of person, someone unhappy with Utsubo's gains, ready to risk their life to change this place, and pushed to a point of desperation or anger. That might be a lot more doable. But first you must understand Utsubo, see how they run this place, where they meet, what they talk about, find where Utsubo is weakest, find where they can be broken, and think about the pressure that might be applied, not just by you, but by all of Darkside. Nia floats lazily in the air, hands behind her head and eyes closed, as you wait for Marco. Leave her be. The airlock cycles once more, and moments later, Marco is in the cockpit, sweat beading on his brow. He takes a moment, his mood uncharacteristically flustered. Well, I bent the truth a little back there, but I think we're good. He runs a hand over his hair, slicking it back into place. Luckily, I've had a lot of practice lying to dock workers. He gives you a wink. They'll begin unloading later this cycle, and they won't be in a rush. He smiles. We have our time as promised. But the sudden interjection evaporates any relief you were feeling. Utsubo are watching these docks. That I know for sure. For now we are just another freighter, but all are coming and going. That could be a problem. He turns to you. We could try to disable their monitoring, or just get the job done before it becomes an issue. Not a problem, if you say so. I just thought you should know. Either way, we need to get on with it, with what we are doing. Marco folds his arms. Utsubo are everywhere. We need to understand them, to know what is happening inside their organization. We slip under their skin, and find out how they work. Marco looks to you. This is what I recommend. But now, Sleeper, it is your turn to lead. He folds his arms. Tell us where to begin. You feel the attention, the pressure, shift to you. Time to find some allies. Time to find Utsubo's weakness. Time to stop running and resist. Let's take a look around then. I guess I'm not well suited for that one. Not much suited for that one either. But I am suited for this. I know I intended to not do this, but it might help me in the long run. But I don't know if this cuts from the Utsubo stress. Like if I build up enough stress, I go back to this, complete it, and then it cuts down the stress. But it's where I excel though, isn't it? Let's just do it. Let's come back to this. I've got really bad dice. Really poopy pants. Well, Nia's got a bit of a boost here. Not much, but well, let's continue. Great. Fantastic. I'm gambling. Please. Ugh. I should have used my special. I keep forgetting about my push. Please get this. Last two. Nice. So what did that do? Should have read the information. Oh well. Never mind. Let's go to the other one, because I think this is where Nia has a bit of an advantage. Nice. Nice. Let's use Marco's dice. Nice. You have located an Utsubo safe house. You are sure of that. But getting inside will be tricky, thanks to the automated lock on the entrance. There has to be some way to get a passkey. You make your way through the rise, head down the dark passageways. Sleeper, hey. Nia's calls from behind you, rushing to catch up. Marco's gone. You stop at the dark side passageway you were drifting down, a quiet connection between two thoroughfares. You glance around at the loose bundles of wires and stained metal plates. It seems like a safe place to talk. The guy just went. Nia catches up, wild-eyed and talking fast. Muttered he had something he needed to do, then just kicked off and went. She shrugs. You pause for a moment, unsure how to react. What's going on? How should I know? Nia puts her hands on her hips. You just ditched us. Nothing more to tell than that. You take a moment. No need to panic. Marco brought you here. He'll get you out. You look down the corridor towards a busier, wider passage where people drift by. If you needed to deal with something, then, well, you needed to deal with something. It doesn't mean anything, but you sure as hell wish he had given you a warning. Surveilled and now short-handed, this job is going from bad to worse. Great. Oh, it's a gamble with this dice, man. Fuck it. Oh. Ay, 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 ay. Oh, Nia's dice, man. What the hell? Both ones. Give me a break. I should have started on this side. It's just risky, isn't it? Seriously? Come on. I can't risk these dice. It's... Do I even have that? Unstable cipher. I guess I need to do this first. But it's such a gamble. Fuck. Oh. Choices. Well, I guess I can do Nia because I think it will only add to her. It's such a gamble, though. I'm gonna wait another cycle. Nice. Okay, on to the next. So she's got... Yeah, let's use Nia's dice. %. I think I'm better off using my dice. Just because it's on the risky side. Go, baby, go, baby, go. Seriously? Oh, come on. Fuck. Can I wait another cycle? Let's use Nia. Nice. Okay. Yeah, we'll use one of the lower dice. Nice. Okay. The unmarked door slides open as you use the cipher. Beyond it, a dark tunnel descends, its roof a mess of bundled tubes and wires. Entering, you see a flickering light at its far end, and hear the soft echo of raised voices. Nia nods down the tunnel. Down we go, sleeper. You drift down the tunnel, keeping your limbs clear of the sides. Your passage through the air silent and gentle. You focus on the flickering light, the sound of the voices growing ever louder. As you descend through the tunnel, you notice a small, dark doorway, leading off before the tunnel reaches the bottom. You slow yourself gently, fingertips grazing the metal walls on either side. Glancing through, you see the doorway leads out onto a framework balcony, high on the wall of some dark room. You glance down the bottom of the tunnel and hear the voices rising in volume. Nia tucks into the doorway. Here, come on, she hisses. You come out onto the balcony overlooking a dark, cavernous room, lit in patches, with a bright area at the far end. It is filled with people, Utsubo enforcers and members, all facing forward, their floating bodies silhouetted by the pool of bright light ahead. And in that bright pool, two figures are arguing. You come to the edge of the balcony, a feeling of safety granted to you by both your elevation and the cover of darkness. Below, the entire room has its attention focused on the two figures in the pool of light, the watching audience keeping to the dark perimeter, as if they were observing a piece of theatre. You feel Nia arrive beside you, her attention, like yours, on the scene below. Oren. These are my territories. You need to withdraw. One figure, their features hard to define in the pool of light, gestures at the other. There is no discussion to be had. The other figure laughs. You're pathetic, Oren. The Washgate is a joke like you. He turns to the crowd and you see dark hair, dark eyes, and a smile like a slit. The dark-haired figure addresses the gathered crowd. Oren makes nothing from the Washgate, all that freight, and he lets it slip by while he soaks up bribes. Jeering echoes around the crowd. He's stealing from you all. Daichi, you piece of shit. Oren spits, a glinting orb zipping past the other man. You have no respect. A few of the crowd enter the light, gathering behind one figure or the other. Barely more than an enforcer and already dictating terms. If you had any idea what was happening in the passages, you'd know we've been facing sabotage and resistance across the Washgate. Oren shakes his head. Utsubo's control is under question. Sabotage and resistance. You quietly log the remark in your mind. Those are the people you have to find. Daichi smirks in response. I still know how it is in the passages, but you are getting soft, Orion. He glances around. You can't deal with some angry shop owners. He makes a show of his mocking laugh. It's easy to mock, but they are organized, and I am close to rooting out their meeting places. Oren folds his arms. You wouldn't know where to start looking. If you say so, old man. In the end, it's only a matter of time before something ambitious notices how weak you have become. Daichi draws a finger across his throat with a grin. The room erupts in shouts. Both sides call out insults, while others from the crowd air their own problems, some drifting into the light to heckle Daichi and Oren directly. Silence! A voice cuts through the room, raised above all others. The noise drops. You lean forward to get a better view. A woman holds her muscled arms in the air, a wide, strong posture of control, not surrender. Akita? Both of you. She shakes her head, her long braids snaking through the air as she does. Enough. This is not how we do things. The chaos is replaced by a disgruntled muttering. Not one voice willing to rise above the murmur. Daichi floats to one side, arms coolly folded, while Oren fumes opposite him, his hands in tight fists. So this is how the Starwood Ward conducts its business. She shoots hard looks around the room. Animals fighting over scraps. Akita. Oren eyes at Daichi as he speaks. Daichi is the one disrespecting the leadership and the trust they have placed in. I said enough. Your weakness does not impress me, Oren. She turns to Daichi, and neither does your petulance, Daichi. What are you calling weak, Akita? Oren narrows his eyes. You may be Lane's favourite, but I have something that will change all that. He looks out over the heads of the crowd. Bring him! A figure is dragged into the circle of light, the head low, a greasy tangle of dark hair drifting over their face. They lift a hand and slick it back out their eyes. Marco. Nia hisses from beside you, as Marco's pale face catches the light, gleaming with sweat. This one here has a very interesting story to share with us all. Oren gestures to the gathered crowd. I'm sure you are all aware of the bounty Lane has put on the head of a very valuable escaped sleeper and their accomplices. Well, Marco here tells me, he smiles at Marco, whose eyes are fixed forward, squinting into the light, that same sleeper is right now on a freighter moored in the Washgate docks. A ripple runs through the gathered crowd, a reflection of the value of this information. You wonder how much cryo is on your and Seraphine's heads. You look into Marco's eyes, attempting to see any indication of what this might be. A desperate bid to save himself, or a betrayal of everything you agreed upon. His set stare reveals nothing. Now Lane himself will be returning in 3 cycles, and you can imagine how pleased he will be when I present the sleeper to him. Ankita stares at Oren. You had no business keeping this from me. He folds her arms. I will be the one to bring the sleeper in. Not so fast, Ankita. Oren turns to the gathered crowd. The first of you to bring me the sleeper will be given a share of Washgate. He shoots a look across the circle of light. That includes you, Daichi. The crowd erupts into shouts and movement. The assembled Utsubo members suddenly up and moving towards the doors. You push yourself into the corner of the balcony, tucking yourself into the shadows as you hear the tunnel filling with voices. There are shouts and scuffles, and you fear that at any moment you will be discovered. But as time passes, the noise subsides. You only open your eyes when the sound disappears altogether. The Utsubo members on their way to your freight. The freighter is supposed to take you off Darkside. You feel the panic rising. You are trapped here once more. Time to go. You turn to see Nia's eyes wide with fear. You ascend through the tunnel silent, slow. Your eyes on the entrance, hoping that no Utsubo member returns or enters. And then you are back out in the main passageway, blinking in the light of the fluorescent panels and gliding away from the entrance, lost in a daze. Somewhere in the rise you eventually stop, not sure where you might be going, but needing to get away from what you just witnessed. You can't go back to the freighter, that much is clear, which means no supplies, no place to sleep. Then there's Marco. Was this always part of his plan? Or is this just him in survival mode? Your mind fills with questions and worries, the path ahead unclear. Did Marco just give us up? Nia hovers in the passageway, panicked and confused. I don't get it. We don't know yet. Nia nods. Right. So what was that then? She looks to you for answers. You have none. You hear the desperation in your own voice. What else could it have been? You saw him. And Ankita. What more do you need? Your mind races with questions. Can you really leave this place without Marco? How would Seraphine react? If he actually has been caught by Utsubo, can you forgive him for giving in to the pressure? You are struggling to be angry at him. Perhaps because you have been where he is now, under Utsubo's control. What would you have done to escape? Who would you have given up? Alright, I'm good. Nia takes a deep breath. We've got this. She looks up at the passageway. We can't go back to the ship. That's done now. So we find a place here. She speaks as she thinks. We hole up, work out a plan, find an exit strategy. Nia shakes her head. But what exit strategy? Without a ship? Okay, first things first. We find a unit to tuck ourselves away in. She looks at you and then at the rows of doors in the passage. You wait here. I'll head up and get one of these open. You take a moment, trying to focus. Maybe if you could find those resisting Utsubo, they could help you. Though you wonder if they existed at all, given that Marco was one who reported their existence to you and Seraphine. Was this whole thing a ploy to collect the bounty, to bring you to Darkside? If you search out Marco, perhaps he can answer you, for better or worse. But then you recall Oren's word, sabotage and resistance. If that was an honest plea, then there is some truth in what Marco said. Utsubo is being resisted. You try to gather yourself. You have to bounce back, come up fighting, otherwise this place will drown you in its darkness. I haven't got a chance, man. Look at the stress. Flicker roll. Steel supplies. Oh, shit. This is not good. Oh. Well, it's 50-50. Fuck! Let's go for it. I can't risk it. I have to risk it though, because the stress that I've got. And if Nia does it, she'll be... Oh my god. Fuck it. We're going for it. Great. I think my food just arrived, maybe. Like, I can't add to my stress though. I'm just gonna gamble. Whatever. Oh, I got it. Nice. Just 1 second, guys. My food is late. I've been waiting like an hour and they're usually pretty quick. You wake in the cold of the abandoned unit to an unsettling quiet. The air cycles whine. The heat diffusers hum, but nothing around you breathes. You are alone. You slowly raise yourself, unclip the straps from the bunk, and allow yourself to drift up into the air. Silence. And then in that silence you hear something. A scrape or scuff. It draws your eyes to the unit's doorway, where a shape is settled in the dark. I knew you couldn't have gone far. And Keita shifts to fill the doorway. Gamble! Nice! You kick off hard, dropping your shoulder and tucking your head so you slam into her chest with full force. And Keita reels back then spins, wrapping you with both arms, and using your momentum to whip you around in a bundle and bundle you back into the unit. She laughs. Not bad. She flexes her shoulder. That was a solid hit. Just calm yourself. And Keita holds up both hands. Let's not cause too much damage. She raises an eyebrow. May I come in? She drifts through the doorway. We don't need any extra attention right now. You can't give me to Lane. Look, just shut up and listen. And Keita drops her voice. I'm risking everything by coming up here. She hisses. So don't make this any harder than it is. What you need to know is this. I am on your side. I want Darkseid free just like you. And I hate Lane just as much as you do. And Keita sighs. I just have different methods, that's all. She raises an eyebrow. You might say better methods, given how well your visit has gone. Why should I trust you? I'm the only person who can get you off Darkseid, so you better listen closely. And Keita hisses. It has taken me more cycles than you would believe to get this deep into Utsubo. I'm not about to give it up for one escapee. But then Lane doesn't usually run all across the belt chasing a lone escapee, even a sleeper. And Keita drifts a little closer, overshadowing you. So you need to tell me now, what does Lane want with you? Why are you so important to him? What's it to you? And Keita look darkens. You don't want to play it like this, trust me. What you don't understand, Sleeper, is that I've been trying to keep you safe since I saw you arrive, but your friend hasn't made it easy. Getting himself caught by Utsubo is bad enough, but then blabbing about you being here. She sighs. I can only protect you from so much. Where's Marco? I don't run the gang. He's Oren's. I can't risk starting an internal war. Either way, you're lucky you aren't in the same position, and you have me to thank for that. So I'll ask again, and Keita meets your eye. Why is Lane pursuing you? And Keita looks away in thought as you explain. She waits for you to finish. None of it makes any sense. But there's no way I'm letting Lane get his prize. Not until we understand more. She gives you a hard look. I can get you out. But I need a couple of cycles. And I need you to do something for me. You need to take this with you, off station. She produces a thumbnail drive and holds it up. This is everything I've managed to scrape from within Utsubo. The key to challenging Lane is on here. I know it. Take it to Oliveira. It's tucked away in a crater, in the shoals, that massive debris field beyond the hollow. She meets your eye. You give it to Carmen, no one else. And Keita presses the drive into your palm and closes your hand around it. No one but Carmen, you understand? Lane's rise has been cruel. He has spilt too much blood. When I'm ready, I will make him pay for that. But Carmen needs to analyse what I've got on him, to find the right place and moment to strike. And Keita meets your eye. I knew a sleeper once, and I should have trusted them. She lets go of your hand. So now I'm trusting you. I'll get you out. And you deliver. That's the deal. Ankita cracks her knuckles. Then together we can... Ankita spins sideways, slamming into the wall of the unit with a grunt. A few small globes of red liquid glitter in the air. Sleeper, make a run for it. Nia shakes out the fist as she just hammered Ankita with. A shrill whine draws both of you and Nia's attention to Ankita. She's holding a boxy pistol at her waist, its side blinking with a pale indicator light. I don't like people sneaking up on me like that. Ankita reaches up and wipes the blood from her temple, her eyes not leaving Nia. You hit me harder than you look. She smiles. Or you should have checked who's on your side before you started throwing punches. Nia looks at you questioningly, squeezing her hand in pain. Ankita is helping us. Okay, I'm lost. Nia shoots her a sideways glance. I'm going to need to be caught up here. I have to go, Sleeper. She glances between the two of you. You explain this whole thing to your friend if you want, but I won't be here when you do. 2 cycles. Be ready to leave. He backs out of the unit. When Lane comes back, you go out. Neither of us wants him to win here. And a piece of advice, forget Marco. Keep your head down and wait for me. She raises a finger. You need supplies? Steal them in Flicker Row. Otherwise keep to yourself. Ankita gives you a hard look and slips out of the unit. Okay. Just had my food. Ready to go again. My mouth is on fire. I didn't even order spicy food. I ordered a Chinese. And I ordered mixed vegetables. Not knowing they were going to throw a lot of chilies in there. And I really cannot handle my spicy food. Even the slightest bit of spice, just I break out in hiccups. Anyway, so where are we at? So I need 2 supplies to see me through the next 2 cycles, don't I? Okie dokie. I think I'm better with Nia's dice. Actually, I don't think I am. 25% positive. This is really bad. But I can wait a cycle, can't I? Yeah. I'll wait a cycle. You wake in the Burr unit, cloaked in the endless shadow of Darkside. Outside the window, the lights of the city glitter, but you do not see them. Your attention is instead on the tugging thread of your mind. Lane, drawing even closer. You shiver. One more cycle, and then you are out. Oh, crap. Oh, it's bugged. Well, it's time. We got it. Nice. Though you have no specific memory of it, there is something unpleasantly familiar about the place you have found yourself in. Among the many stacked units of Rise, framed by scaffolding and stretching away from Darkside's reflectors in a way that is only possible in Zero-G, you have found yourself in a cold corner. Here, a locked door is marked with Utsubo's sigil, a single eel curled back on itself, its mouth around its own tail. This is the kind of door behind which Utsubo keeps its secrets, its assets. Assets like you and Seraphine were, like Marco is now. It's a door you have been watching, which is why you know there should be an enforcer lazily lent beside it, and why you know you only have moments before they come back. Nice, I got 100% positive. You slip a shipbreaker's chisel from your belt pack and jab it into the lock, glancing over your shoulder as you try to force the mechanism. With a deft hand, you angle the chisel against the mechanism and, with a swift strike on the handle, the bolt pops off inside the lock. You slide the door open silently. You're in. A dim corridor stretches out ahead of you, lined with doors on either side. The memory hits you almost immediately. Long cycles between jobs in a cell like this, awaiting Lane's arrival, kept safe. A lie that you believed when you were first brought to a place like this. Most of the cells are dark, empty, but a warm glow spills from around the doors. You quickly approach and look. Marco is tucked into an inset berth, a padded niche like those in any unit. His back is turned to the small window in the door. He slammed the exterior lock with that release without thinking. Marco turning over to face the door as it hisses open. Sleeper? He freezes for a moment, unsure of your intention. He raises a hand as if to protect himself, to put something between you and him. Let's go. Marco nods and pushes himself up. He eyes you but doesn't say a word. Recriminations can wait. You back out into the passageway, and Marco follows slowly, tentatively. Time to leave. Lucky me. Daichi floats in the corridor, a knife glinting in his hand. I came to squeeze a little more information from Oren's prize here. He points the long knife at Marco, but it looks like I just got everything I need. Yes, 100% positive. You feel the knife graze your side, slitting through your thick skin, but you swing your elbow anyway, connecting with Daichi's face as you spin. You feel the crunch of his nose, the solid metal of your skeleton meeting the pliant bone of his. Moments later, Marco and you are streaking through the passages of the rise in a haze, the pain fading, but the fear holding strong, desperate to leave this place once and for all. Never leave a man behind! So I didn't actually get any supplies from that? Can I try? I don't need to do this, do I? Oh no. So I just end cycle then. But I have no food. Make it through Darkside Recon without getting caught. Marco rises from his berth quietly. You haven't really spoken. The two of you kept busy by your own injuries and the constant fear of that Daichi will find you. But so far he hasn't. And if Ankita is to be trusted, this is your final cycle on Darkside. You wait in silence, no one eager to speak. A deep fatigue has set in, and in this moment, all anyone can do is wait for this excursion to be over. She's here. Marco nods at the doorway, where a silhouetted figure awaits. Ankita looks at Marco, and then at you. A raised eyebrow, the only acknowledgement that you went against her advice. Lane is back on Darkside. We have to go now. Ankita looks tired, angry. We won't have another chance. Come with me, quickly, quietly. She turns and pushes out into the corridor. Nia sighs. Let's get this done. Ankita leads you across Darkside, not stopping to look back. The lights and passages flash by, but you barely notice them. All eyes are fixed ahead, on the way out. At some distant part of the station, Ankita stops at a docking bridge, a small freighter visible through the viewing windows. She slaps the door release and it slides open. She grabs your shoulder, looking into your eyes. Lane's focus will be on Darkside now. He needs to stop the infighting, to shore up at Tsubo. If you get out now, he won't follow. Remember, Ankita hisses the instructions to you. Get that drive to Oliveira. Give it to Carmen, no one else, no matter what they say. Thank you. Ankita simply nods, and then she is gone, disappearing into the endless winding passages of Darkside. You drift gingerly down the docking tunnel, which leads into the cold and sparse cargo bay of the ship. Once you're inside, there is a hiss and the doors scissor shut. For a moment you panic, seeing no exit, no other doors, just a metal-walled bay. Is this a trap? But the engines rumble to life, and you give in to your exhaustion. If Ankita has tricked you, you at least are leaving this place behind. And then you feel it, cold fingers reaching into your mind. You are so close, Lane's voice in your ear. You are here. A rustling, a shifting. I can't quite place you, can't quite put my finger on you, sleeper. But I know you are there. What were you doing here? Hoping to confront me perhaps, or something else? A hiss. I'm right here, you coward. Come and find me. I'll admit, I'm not quite ready for you, sleeper. A flicker and a spasm. But so soon this will be over. A tone begins, shrill and inescapable. Let me show you. The tone rises. Lane is in the bay of the freighter, the pull of constant acceleration and comforting pressure against his chest. Lane looks around the bay, taking it in slowly. He inhales the stale air deeply. Lane feels power, feels pride. The sense of control over another excites him. This is his desire. Lane lifts his right hand and turns it in the air, flexing his fingers in a satisfying wave. Something flickers at the corner of your vision for a moment, and you strain to turn Lane's head. It does not turn, but you swear you see a figure there, in the bay with you. Its open mouth as if it speaks, as if to scream, and then it is gone. A smile grows on Lane's face, a spreading tightness that has its own impulse. He raises one hand and uses it to grip the smallest finger of the other. A pause, and then a sudden jerk. Lane snaps his finger back against the joint. His pain is instant as yours. It burns your vision away. When the white-hot blindness has faded, you look out on those same metal walls. You hold the same finger in your hand, and as you release it, you see the crooked shape it has been bent to. A shiver runs through you, and you reach back into your own mind to see if any trace, any fragment of Lane remains there. You put your hands on your face and push, as if to push him from your mind, from your head. The ship continues on its starward arc, away from Darkside, away from Lane. But you can't help but feel that some part of him is still there, behind your eyes, concealed beneath the pain of that snapped finger. It takes a long time before you are ready to discuss everything. First there was the journey to the yard, then disembarking from the freighter, then explaining to the waiting crew why their ship was impounded, something Marco offered 1,000 apologies for. Thankfully, the crew of the ship that brought you out of Darkside, sent by Ankita, took the others aside and settled them. Through the promise of remuneration or the threat of violence, you aren't sure, but you expect they will leave together for Darkside soon. You do your best to explain your encounter with Ankita to your crew, but the mention of her name sets off a significant reaction in Bliss. It seems the two have history, a relationship that fell apart. Bliss removes themselves from the conversation, and later on, you find them in the berths, staring at the wall. The whole time you find yourself in a daze. Your skin hurts, and your muscles tremble. You don't feel yourself. You rest for a while, and as you do, conversations echo around you, until you find yourself able to rise. Sleeper. Marco comes to you in the quiet of the rig. Can we speak a moment? Go ahead. Marco nods. Thank you, Sleeper. He looks down. I know it almost cost you everything. You have to understand something. When they caught me, I was looking for someone important to me. That was why I wanted to come with you. I just wanted to get a message to him, and to know that he was alright. He screws up his face, each word bringing him pain, and I admit, I thought I might be able to bargain on his behalf, to get us both out. I don't want to hear it. I understand. Marco nods. I won't bother you further. Look, you can use the yard when you get back to the scatter yards. There are some components in there. Take what you want. Marco sniffs. I'm going to stay here a while. He turns away and drifts down the corridor. As he does, Seraphine passes him by, receiving no acknowledgement. Seraphine looks different. He's all healed. Seraphine gives you a questioning look as Marco leaves. What happened out there, Sleeper? He floats there, stretching his scarred arm. The protective sleeve he has been wearing since the far spindle finally removed. Otsubo are fighting amongst themselves. You explain about the meeting you witnessed, the conflict between Oren and Daichi, and Ankita's intervention. Explaining Ankita takes a little more effort, but you try to remember everything that happened. You explain Ankita's insistence that she was working against Darkseid, and how she got you off the station. You explain that Utsubo itself is coming apart with Lane absent, and that this will draw his focus away from the two of you. Seraphine waits until you have finished to respond. So this Ankita got herself inside Utsubo. He raises an eyebrow. Just to try to break their grip on Darkseid. He whistles. Take some balls. You explain the drive. Mention Olivera. Carmen. And then hold up the thumbnail drive. The one Ankita entrusted you with. Olivera? He screws up his face. I've heard of it. Maybe once or twice. I just assumed it was some backwater colony. He sighs. Never met a Carmen before. What's on that thing? Seraphine nods at the thumbnail drive. Ankita didn't say. I don't get it. Seraphine raises an eyebrow. We just deliver this little mystery drive and that's all. He looks away, deep in thought. Is that what you want to do next? Olivera. You've never even heard of it. But it seems like the place to go if you want to help Ankita fight back against Lane. You look at the drive, and as you do you can't help but feel you're being used. Not for the first time. One thing I will say, Seraphine begins, clearly thinking out loud. If we want to head back to Darkseid, take on Lane, we are going to need to do so on our ship this time. Some crews get spoof transponders, send out a signal matching another ship. He shrugs. Not going to get one fitted here, but that's something we need to look out for. Sure, you think. Go back to Darkseid where Lane waits. A shudder of fear runs through you, thinking of the moment he slipped into your mind on the freighter. If you ever go back there, you know you'll need something to counteract him. But you also recall Overseer's presence in that moment too. His strange form holding its shape as Lane tried to override your control. Perhaps Overseer has a way for you to resist his signal. Your mind whirls with possibilities and problems. Is this really the right move? To go back to the place that almost killed you twice? To take on Lane? Seraphine looks at you expectantly. What are you thinking, Sleeper? We need to prepare. I couldn't agree more. Seraphine shakes his head. Next time will be different. We will be ready. We will come up fighting and Lane won't have a clue what's hit him. We need work. We need a crew. Seraphine starts counting off his finger. We need to take that thing to Olivera. And we need you strong, Sleep. Speaking of, Seraphine takes out a box of components. I kept myself busy these past cycles, working in the fabricator bays on the scatter yards. I figured you could use some spurs. But first, Seraphine takes a calming breath. We rest. No problem. Oh, my glitch wheel is full. Get a little bite to eat. Is this new music? I don't think. Have I heard this bit music before? Buy some supplies for the cat. I better remember to repair these dice first. I don't know if I need to keep doing this or what. Am I just wasting some... Oh, I've got more skill points. Sweet. Let's go for more interface. Oh shit, I didn't set... Ah, the team will be getting something that I need, no doubt. You wake to something soft and furry rubbing against your nose. You sit bolt upright. The stray kicks off from your bunk and settles on the ceiling, back curled up, looking down at you accusingly with those big eyes. Sorry. The stray gently pushes off the ceiling with a soft paw and descends to the edge of your bunk, where it hugs its front claws into the mattress pad. Seeing the cat move in Zero G is still odd. It seemed to come naturally to it, and yet its shape is so connected to gravity and weight in your mind. The cat should have the heavy, soft form of a mammal, not the languid, liquid presence of a floating thing in front of you. The stray uses its hooked claws to twist and spin itself, so it softly glides against you with its back. Rubbing against your arm and purring, you know what it means. Pet the stray. You run a hand down its back, and it shifts its spine in a fluid motion of appreciation. The stray closes its eyes and purrs. It's funny to think how the stray got out here. Perhaps on a ship from the inner system. Slipping on at the Eye or Sintra. And before that, its ancestors were perhaps carried out to Helion by Solheim executives who had the power and arrogance to bring a cat into space. But this cat, the one on your ship, was born here. That much is obvious. It is a creature of zero gravity. A being that orbits and glides, not one that leaps and stalks. It pats at your hand. encouraging you to continue petting. It is an animal that is part of the crew now. You can't imagine the rig without her. As you look down at the stray, as nameless and inhumane as you are, the memory returns. The warmth of atmosphere-filtered sun, the weight of flesh and fur, the smell of growing things. You know now what this memory is. It couldn't be more obvious. It is a memory that crossed the gap of your creation, a memory from the mind that was copied, emulated, to make your own. It is part of you. This memory is, in the end, a mistake. Those who designed the sleepers never intended you to carry the memories and the minds that were copied for your creation. They wanted you to emerge as new beings, offshoots from the branch of a human's life, to be cut short when needed. But mistakes can so often become the most powerful and meaningful of emblems. They can guide a being more strongly than any success ever could. That's because at the heart of every mistake is the possibility of change, of a shift in the status quo. You have lived a life of mistakes as much as a life of success, and look where it has brought you. So you accept the memory, let it wash over you like the sun. You focus on the stray, and as you do, both memories combine. You are stroking both cats, separated by time and space, feeling both sets of sensations in double exposure. This doubling is what defines you. You are multiple, branched, diverse. You make no apologies for this, and you know that you will only accumulate more selves, more variants, as you persist. You claim the mistake and the possibility offers you. You settle in your berth, delaying the moment of waking, of greeting the cycle a little longer, sharing an unspoken solidarity with the stray that is more expansive than any words could capture. The darkness flows around you, and you know what comes next. Sleeper. The multi-part image of Overseer assembles itself in front of you. We must intervene in your current course. I don't like it when you do that. Unfortunately, we must disregard your preferences to ensure your safety. The three partial heads regard you with concern. The opening of your systems has breached a new paradigm. You are dangerously exposed. The voice is somehow both soundless and shrill. As we are sharing your hardware, that means we too are fatally exposed. The individual agent you encountered, we were almost completely erased by their attempts to seize control. Overseer's three heads nod eagerly in agreement. It's Lane. We have knowledge of this name from your memory banks. What are you doing? That's what it was. I wonder what it was. Don't do that. The dogs have become wise to the gates are set up around the flat. So they've got them open and chewed all kinds of things. And I saw a little piece of wood on the carpet earlier and I was like, what the hell is that off? And then I've just heard a crunch behind me and it turns out Charlie has decided to start chewing my back scratcher, which is made of wood. And now it's just essentially a stick. Thanks, Charles. They also decided to chew the little knob on my headphones receiver. I've got like the SteelSeries Pro wireless whatever. And there's a little receiver unit with a dial on it for the volume. Not that I touch it, but they're expensive headphones anyway. So they've chewed that off, which is also great. Haven't you, Frank? But they got a bit of a shouting and a timeout for half an hour, but I couldn't keep them in the cage for long before letting them out. Not when they're giving me the puppy dog eyes anyway. Back to the game. Where was I? Often partially and inconsistently. Overseer whirs unsettlingly. But yes, we can confirm Lane's role in this vulnerability. It is our understanding that the assumption of inevitability is incorrect. Overseer glows with bright veins of data. But in this state, we cannot operate with full functionality. If we were to be recompiled in our correct configuration, We believe we would be able to calculate a new path. Our aim would be too close. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted. Our aim would be too close to vulnerabilities and reinforce your systems against future intrusions. This would ensure our safety within your system. 3 sets of eyes lock onto you. Would this also please you? You can stop it? Correct. Overseer stutters like a glitched animation. Our expertise was in total system maintenance and security, beyond our administration and navigation capabilities. We were built to do this. At least, this is what we understand. Without being recompiled, we are aware of these capabilities, but cannot access them. We are confident to a substantial degree that we will know how to complete the process once recompiled. The 3 heads nod, one to the other. Then recompile. The heads revolve thoughtfully for a moment. Without our originating codebase, we cannot recompile. Overseer flickers. If you were able to speak with the Solheim systems engineer, perhaps lead engineer Jakub Kadinsky, perhaps we could acquire it. The heads stare at you expectantly, like 3 partially deconstructed puppies. Solheim is gone. Yes. The heads nod repeatedly. Of course, the heads. Of course. The heads continue nodding. We, of course, are aware of this. You look at the fragmented program itself, its systems, unstable and broken. You realize it is far worse off than you, and its collapse is almost inevitable. How could it possibly save you? It is difficulty. It is a difficulty. Overseer flicks between pauses. But all codebases are held in centralized Solheim facilities. They are station. Not sure. I've seen that symbol somewhere, but I'm not sure it means. I'll just go with AE. AE1. The KAN Channel Operations Center, and the control center of the HABPEP or Helion Asteroid Belt Photovoltaic Extraction Project. Overseer smiles helpfully. That was a mouthful. HABPEP. Is that dark side? Overseer immediately latches onto the thought. Based on your memory banks, we believe so. Correct. It occurs to you that this entire conversation is happening within your head. It is an unsettling feeling. I can't go back to dark side. Correct. It would be inadvisable without precaution. Overseer chirps brightly. We understand that the individual seeking to overwrite you is stationed in the HABPEP itself. Overseer's 3 heads separate and turn inward as if in conference. The shattered heads turn simultaneously, unsettling in the directness with which they address you. But if you could access the HABPEP mainframe without making yourself known, we could reconstruct ourselves and gain the ability to reconstruct you. Theoretically. One of the heads adds, theoretically. The other 2 heads confirm. Would that protect me from Lane? Theoretically, the heads confirm again. The reassurances of a delusional Solheim protocol are barely reassuring. But if Overseer is correct, this may be your only option. We feel your doubt, but we must impress on you the importance of this, please. Overseer's eyes flash, all 6 of them. If not your sake, for ours. If you cannot find your way to the HABPEP before encountering this Lane, you will surely be overwritten, and we would also share your fate. The heads rotate. We would not like this to happen. We have an incentive to offer. Suddenly an unsettling fizzing begins at the core of your body, spreading out through your limbs. We found multiple misaligned sequences in your altered codebase. We have done our best to correct them. Like a switch flipping, you feel renewed. Your pathway is clear. Your process is smooth. A permanent glitch dissolves from your system. 3 mindlessly smiling heads of Overseer, however, are less reassuring. We will see you to recharge, but please, consider the path ahead. You come back to the ragged paneling of the bunks. Somewhere behind your left eye, the ache begins. You envy Overseer for its lack of body and the pain it causes. But then, suddenly, you wonder if insuring your body, it shares your pain too. The thought makes you pity the broken protocol, its sense of time and place shattered. Perhaps you share more than you would like to admit. The path ahead begins to take shape. It seems a return to Darkside is inevitable, but you will need help to make that return. Well, I sure will. So what are we doing now then? I got quite a big crew now. What do I need? I need supplies, but... engine components. He said... Seraphim said I'm gonna need engine components. But how many? Oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. Crap. Ah, the dog has its squeaker, that's fantastic. I'm gonna have to spoil her fun. Sorry, Charlie, I'm trying to do a video. Oh, I did a whoopsie. That was such a waste. God damn it. Come on. Nice. Let's get them to scavenge supplies. I've got plenty of money. I just realised I should play it safe before heading out sometimes. Like, I don't need to rush to get away from here because I'm not being hunted. So I should probably break the 2 dice I have, repair them, then head out. I know that might sound obvious to some people watching this, but it hadn't occurred to me. So, more components. Supplies. Okay, let's fill our supplies and fuel. I'm gonna try and get rid of these dice and break them. Whoops. How many of these components do I need then? Can't I just keep doing this indefinitely? Has the game bugged or something? What's to stop me from doing this continuously? I'm wondering if the game's bugged. Strange. I'm actually trying to break these dice. Surely this is an exploit or something. Because I have no timer. The only thing that can run out is my money and food. Well, instead of cheating, if that's what I'm doing, I'm just gonna move on to the next place. Trying to see where everything is. Okay. Let's head back to the spindle. Maybe not. Come on, D-pad. I don't want to head back there and then have to. Come on, D-pad. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this with. Let's head to the hollow then. Oh, I might double back. I might head here to the hollow and here to the green belt. But where is... What is it I need again? Spoof transponder. Which one's the true span? That... I don't want to go this way, because I need to go to the spindle for the sake of Nemba. Let's head to the hollow then. Sleeper. Eugen takes you aside. I'm going to head into the Radius Markets to find my contact, the one with the data on the Aphelion. You should come with. 2 sets of eyes are better than 1. He smiles. Let's go. As you say, Captain. Eugen grins and heads for the airlock. You watch him go, unsure what his swagger might hide. But you've come this far with him. Maybe it's time to see where it all leads. Let's just get this one out of the way then. This is what I came across first. Got it. Nice. Got it in one. Gonna have to rest though. Let's get them finding some fuel. Should we feed the cat? Still likes to spend time in her little nest in the supply. Okay. So things are getting better. Things are getting better with my pussy. No dice to repair. Okay. So I can sell Solheim data here. There's work. Supplies, food. Nice. Help with repairs. Let's get some food. Damn, I'm having a lot of luck here. What do you mean, fried, Kimball? Our station depends on that array. The voice echoes out of one of the sunward poles' cramped bays, tucked up in the ceiling of the hollow. Though you were tired from a shift spent sealing leaks in this shattered section of the station, you still can't help but listen in. I have been patient, Kimball, but now with the repairs almost done, you're telling me we can't broadcast anyway? The voice comes from a doorway nearby, and as you float past, you glance inside. You see a woman facing away, addressing the back of a man half buried in the guts of some complex machine. I'm sorry, Kimball, she concludes, but that just feels malicious. The man, presumably Kimball, mumbles something in response, though you do not catch it through the wires and mechanisms that surround him. The woman quickly turns and spots you peering in through the doorway. She gives you a curious look. Oh, she quickly smiles. Hello. She closes the distance. I'm Cyrene. She offers a hand. I've seen you working on the repairs. She tilts her head. We appreciate your efforts. Happy to help. Cyrene looks over her shoulder at Kimball and then back to you. How do you feel? She pauses. Calculating. About the war in the inner system. It's worrying for the belt. I agree, which is why the belt needs to stay informed about it. Did you know that the Senate stat has already started shipbuilding at Cinza? Cyrene watches you for your response. Cinza? One of the three sisters in orbit around Ember. She raises an eyebrow. You haven't left the belt, have you? You hear a grunt from Kimball, his head still buried in the machine's innards, and it is unclear if it's in reference to what was said, or it's just the sound of repairs going poorly. We, Cyrene places a hand on her chest, are the Helion Dispatches, the only pirate radio station in the Starward Belt. She lifts her chin proudly. We keep the system up to date on shifts in the system's power structures and the ongoing corporate war. All through the voices of the Helion system's own residents. Kimball grunts again, and a shower of sparks bursts from the machine behind Cyrene. Or at least we did, before our transmitter got fried. Cyrene looks suddenly crestfallen. What happened? All that repair work you've been doing, been giving you time to, that was all caused by Conway Autonomous Munition, trained on our scent. Cyrene's eyes flash with anger. A mumble comes from Kimball as he pushes a handful of wiring out of his way. I do know that for sure, Kimball. Why else would it come so deep into the belt to hit the hollow at our broadcast site? Cyrene turns back, hands on hips. Kimball responds with a shrug. Either way, straight after the attack, we found our gear had been tampered with, sabotaged. Kimball grunts. Yes, Kimball, or just looted. Either way, we are now quiet. And when we are quiet, the war continues unobserved. Cyrene folds her arms and looks away defeated. What do you need? Look, we need a new broadcast array. A better broadcast array. Cyrene glances over her shoulder. We don't quite have the reach we'd like. Where you get one, that's another problem. We're talking pre-collapse tech here. It's not something we could just build ourselves. Kimball mutters something from the depths of the machine. Yeah, Holmes Rock isn't a bad idea, Cyrene replies. It used to be a relay station for Solheim, so it stands to reason they'd have arrays. And then there's the terminal there. Kimball's been bugging me to dig out some engine components for him to crack open and use in his repairs. God knows what kind of repairs he'd need those for, but that's what he says. Cyrene looks over her shoulder at Kimball, but receives no response. They both stare at his broad shoulders for a moment, as a thin trail of smoke begins to emerge from the machine. Now, maybe we can do a little fundraising here on the Hollow. What we can get, we'll happily hand over. Cyrene shakes her head, but I'm telling you now, it won't be a lot. I'll see what I can do. We'd appreciate it. Hell, the people of Helion System would appreciate it. She glances over her shoulder. I think Kimball would appreciate it too. You leave Cyrene and Kimball to their repairs, making note of the engine components and a wideband array they will need to get back on the air. It's hard to tell if the job will be worth your time, but then again, someone as knowledgeable as Cyrene might be a useful asset. I got a negative then, but I don't know what it went towards. Doesn't seem like it's doing, or is it minusing it? Is that even having a negative effect? It's not doing anything. Like it's bugged. How strange. The radius markets surround you and Eugene. Much of the architecture of the Starwood Belt is built on a Solheim foundation. As a corporation from the core, Solheim's structures tend towards cardinal directions, towards respecting gravity in the place where it has little effect. But the radius markets have no such bias, and no singular direction. Instead, the stalls and shots built from scrap frame and hull plate project outwards from all 8 of the surrounding walls. The effect is overwhelming, with activity and interest in all directions. Between the windows that open to faint stars, scrap dealers, street food vendors, data fences, and tailors compete for the attention of the stream of customers drifting around you. Sleeper. Eugene draws close to your attention, his voice barely raised. Take a look. He jerks his head, motioning down the street. You refocus your attention, your eyes drawn to a group of dark-suited spacers with shaved heads. 5 of them gathered around another retreating figure. spaces are noticeably distinct from the rest of the crowd. The Titan complex suits kept in pristine condition, and all in the same design, a rarity amidst the starward belt's ramshackle fashions. You see one of them is gesticulating aggressively, chopping the air with his hands. Eugene nudges you again. Not the singers. You glance at him, unsure of that term. The one they are threatening. Eugene starts to move forward, his eyes fixed on the group. That's my contact. You turn back to the group, the singers as Eugene called them, and see they are rounding on the figure now. Their body language is clear. This is about to come to blows. Eugene clearly sees the shift too. Before you can say a word, he is off, gliding hard through the crowds towards them. You give chase without thinking, kicking off the nearest strut and angling yourself through the central void of the market behind Eugene. Eugene doesn't stop. He barrels straight into the singers, sending two of them spinning into the crowd, to a chorus of shouts and protests. Nice. You follow Eugene's example, arcing your path into one of the singers and throwing an elbow. Both you and Eugene rain blows down on the crew, sending them scattering across the markets and into the crowd that has gathered to watch. As the last one disappears, you look over at a bruised Eugene, a stream of bloody spheres floating from his nose. He gives you a nod. That was not a good idea. Eugene's contact looks between the two of you. I should have guessed you'd pull this kind of shit, Eugene. Lewis. Eugene comes a little closer. Maybe if you stayed in touch, we wouldn't have to come in like the cavalry. Well, those guys aren't going to forget you two anytime soon. He sighs. Come with me. Lewis leads you away from the open market, most of the crowd having dispersed into a small passageway. He finds a hatch, opens it, and beckons you both through before slipping inside, closing it behind you. So what business did you have with the singers? Eugene perches on a stool in the small workshop, picking up a stool from the mag strip above the bench and turning it over in his hands. Singers? Is that what you call them? Lewis looks nervous. The first I've known of them is when they turned up in a few cycles back and started pressing me for info. I've run into some singers before. Not these ones, but they all dress the same. Eugene glances between you and Lewis. They are refugees out of Ember's Song, one of the moons of the gas giant in the inner system. Their moon is a volcanic hellhole, so while these guys are refugees, fleeing the war like most, they tend to be tough as hell and not used to being told no. That part checks out. Lewis smiles a weak smile. They've been pressing me for data for cycles ever since they showed up. My data. Eugene clicks the tool back on the mag strip and fixes Lewis with a hard stare. You've been shopping it around then? Trying to drive a bidding war? Lewis holds up his hands. No. Nothing like that. He's afraid of Eugene, and you worry why that might be. I just wanted to verify the data. I asked around. Someone I showed it to, well, they mentioned a fraction drive. You see Eugene bristle with anger. Lewis keeps talking, speeding up. That was all. But a couple of cycles later, these singers, as you call them, started showing up, and I had to hide myself away. Hard to run a data business when you can't even go out to meet your clients. Where's the data now? Lewis turns to you, seeming glad not to have to look at the angry Eugene. I have it, don't worry. Lewis smiles. And it comes with a hell of a story. The friend I showed it to, he told me he's heard about the ship before. Mostly what he thought were rumours. About a fraction drive ship. Apparently, when Solheim collapsed, there was a struggle over who got to take it. 2 execs from the old corporate hierarchy wanted it, and some of their underlings found out about it too. Those wrecks you visited? That was the site of a battle over the thing. This ship was a hot ticket, even then. You think back to the twisted and blasted remains of the ship, the wreckage strewn across the asteroid. You wonder how many died to try and get the Aphelion path and its golden drive. Seems like both the execs got spaced, but someone came back later. Slips the ship out of the wreck that was carrying it. Here's the funny thing. Rather than use it, they dismantled it, took the ship apart here at the Hollow. Hell, there's probably strut work from the Aphelion path in this very station. Lewis looks around at the salvage compartment you are all inside. So it's gone? Not quite. Lewis smiles, enjoying telling the story now. They weren't stupid enough to dismantle an interstellar drive. The story goes that they buried it on a rock out in the shoals, totally unmarked. With thousands of rocks out there, they could leave it as long as they wanted and come back when they were ready. Thing is, they never came back. Eugene finishes the sentence, his anger fading now. Bingo. Lewis grins as he holds up a thumbnail drive. And I've got the coordinates of the beacon that will lead you there. Eugene snatches it from his fingers. Should have led with that. Lewis sighs deeply. That's just the start of the trail, no doubt. But it'll get you there. But it'll get you there if you manage to follow it. Eugene nods at you and goes to leave, his hands immediately on the container hatch. Hey! Lewis rushes up. Aren't you going to pay me for that? Not after you leaked that the fraction drive exists to your friend, the Singers, and anyone else who's looking it. No. Eugene pulls the door open. Keep it quiet next time. Lewis turns to you. Come on, friend. The Singers chased away my clients. He shows you his upturned palms. 50 cryo for the effort. Or just whatever you have, I'll take it. I'm desperate. Pay Lewis. You pass him a stack of chits and he clasps at your hands. I appreciate it. He looks over your shoulder to see if Eugene is still there. Hey look, be careful with that one, alright? He's not to be trusted. You turn and Eugene is already gone. You follow him out of the container. Time to go and find a fraction drive. So I think I've done... Or is there something new to do here? I need to go and retrieve it. Julio. And that is where I'm going to leave things for the night. It's getting kind of late, and I still want to quickly edit this and upload it to YouTube. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the game is great. I've noticed a couple of bugs. I don't know if they're actually bugs, some of them, or exploits, but that last one at the last station seemed a bit weird. But, oh well. I could have exploited it and kept getting those components, but it just didn't seem right. Plus, it would have been boring for you guys to watch if I just sat there exploiting the hell out of it for like 30 minutes when I could just be getting on with the game. Because my intentions are to make this as organic as possible. Just play through the game. Don't save scum. If I have a bad result, just keep going with the flow. And then once I complete the game, I won't return to it straight away, but I'll return to it in time and play the game with a bit more knowledge and experience. With a lot less reading, because I won't have to read most of it the next time round, because I already kind of know what's going to happen. And as I've said, it's more of a soft RPG, so even if you get things wrong, you still sort of get the result you want, just with less cryo. But hopefully, I already said it at the start of this video, thinking that I would finish the game, but I don't think I'm quite near the end yet, which is a good thing. As I say, I'm enjoying the game, so it's nice to have more content to play through. And again, I apologise if I'm stuttering words and stuff. I'm not the best at reading out loud. This is the first YouTube video / Let's Play that I've actually ever done, with so much to read. So you just have to get used to it, I guess. You know, it's not like I'm one of these celebrities or something that reads out audiobooks. I'm probably ruining the whole experience for you guys, but nobody even watches these videos. It's a very long form video, plus having to listen to my northern voice. I doubt it, but maybe, just maybe, I might make one video at the end where I just stitch together all the best sort of bits. I don't know though, because I've got a new game called Keep Driving that I just bought yesterday, got it downloaded, ready to go. So I'm trying to get this game out of the way and then move on to that one. So we'll see. I'm rambling. Okay. Please like and subscribe, guys. And again, thanks so much for watching. Nobody watches my videos, so anybody who's made it to this point, I really, truly appreciate that. So I'll see you in the next one.